following broadcast is a presentation of Wall Radio Sports and copyright 2024 Neversink Media Group. Middie's football fans, get ready. Settle in for some incredible football action. This is Middletown High School football on Wall Radio. Stay here so you don't miss a single minute of the excitement. Who's ready for some football? Middie's football.
All right, let's go.
Let's go to the field for some gridiron glory.
Good evening, Middie Nation, and welcome to Baldwinsville, New York, and the start of another season of Middletown High School football right here on Wall Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. Tonight, your Middie Bears begin their Section 9 title defense with a visit 3 hours north to Central New York in Section 3 as they take on the Bees of Baldwinsville High School in a non-league Week 0 game. I'm Ed Estrada, along with my sidekick, Mr. Tom Fagione. And Jack George is in our Wall Radio studios for tonight's action as you want to join you for our countdown to kickoff. Tom, how you feeling?
Ed, I got to tell you, very excited to be here tonight. What a road trip. What a road trip for the Middie Bears. What a road trip for us. We went through what felt like a tornado, a hurricane, a whole shebang. We got up here to Baldwinsville, and Baldwinsville said, you know what, we're going to put on some beautiful football weather. And I know back home in Middletown, it sounds a little dreary, a little cold, a little windy. Up here, the conditions are just so nice right now.
Well, yep, and it's 62 degrees, clouds and sun after that big front went through first Central New York and then obviously the Catskills and the Hudson Valley. There's still a slight chance of a shower. Doesn't look too bad, though, right now here at let's see what they call this location, Pelcher Arcaro Stadium up in Baldwinsville. Right to left, we got some gusty winds at about 15 miles an hour. Don't anticipate too much of a passing game here by either of these two teams, though Middletown will probably throw the football a little bit more than the folks out of Baldwinsville. And as Tom mentioned, it was a great trip coming up. Nothing like invigorating two old guys, 250-somethings up here, than high school football to get everything started.
The weather is saying one thing. It's saying we're going to play some good high school football tonight. And, you know, speaking of the trip, how about the Middie Bears? No yellow school buses for this trip. This was something different for the Middies tonight. They got on some chartered buses. We talked to some of the coaches, including Chris Conklin, before they got on the field. And we asked him about what it was like to take the charter buses. And he said it just changed the whole level of things. The kids were comfortable. They felt special. And it let them know that they were doing something special. They weren't just getting on a bus and going to Newburgh or Monroe. They were on a road trip. And
even not just to Albany, because they're kind of used to even playing Section 2 teams nowadays. But to get up to Section 3, that's a little bit of a haul. Obviously, it's a 3-hour trip up here, and you're actually, it's about 10 miles past Syracuse off of I-81, past the New York State Fairgrounds to get up here. But it's a beautiful trip, especially this time of year.
I know our boss, Kevin Halpany, he got caught up with Coach Strenfeld, and in the pregame interview with the coach, they talk about how this game came about. And it's interesting, so stay tuned to listen to that. Sounds pretty crazy how these things come together. But for Middletown to come up here, you know, not only is Middletown representing themselves and their defending championship in Section 9, but also they're representing all of Section 9 right now up here playing in Section 3.
And what's important about that is because Section 3 is the home of the existing Class AA champion in CBA Syracuse, who is part of the same conference that Baldwinsville is part of. Baldwinsville is also part Liverpool, West Genesee, Fayetteville, Manlius, Utica Proctor, and Cicero North Syracuse. Now, their conference is typically has been either CNS, Cicero North Syracuse, or CBA Syracuse have pretty much run the gauntlet. Last year, these Bees lost in the sectional semifinal to CNS out of Syracuse.
But the one thing that you're talking about there is the road to Syracuse, the road to the state championship. Boy, it exists, and it runs right through Section 3.
And for the first time ever, Middletown got a little taste of that. Obviously, at Fowler Field in Middletown, they host the state semifinals for the eastern side of the state. And last year, the Middie Bears, coming off their Section 9 championship over Newburgh, was able to represent Section 9. They did a nice job. They took up a very difficult CBA Albany team in that opening round playoff. Fell short. I believe the score was 26-14, but at halftime, they were nip and tuck, and the Middie Bears had the lead in that first half.
Middie Bears, helmets held high last season. What a tremendous season for the team, tremendous season for the players, and for the program itself. That kind of success, you know, Middletown, they haven't had that great level of that success in quite some time. So to achieve that last year, that brings that pride. You know, they have that little trophy over in Middletown. It's currently on loan. It's called the Bell.
The Erie Bell?
Yeah, there's aspirations for it coming back home to Port Jervis in a couple weeks. But Middletown has the Bell. They have a Section 9 title under their belt. And now they know that they're a team that's in the mix. When you talk about the state championship, it's not just Monroe, it's not just Newburgh. It's, hey, there's that team. Oh, yeah, Middletown. Got to keep an eye on them as well.
So for those of you who don't know, but should, Kevin Halpenny and my sidekick, Mr. Fagione here, did the Port Jervis Goshen game. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. The Red Raiders have a strong team this year, getting ready for that September 21st matchup at Fowler for the Erie Bell. Middletown, as we mentioned, it was their first state playoff appearance since 1994. They're looking to get right back there again. It'll be tough this year, but the typical threesome in that division is going to be Monroe, Woodbury, Newburgh Free Academy, and Middletown. Kingston Valley Central moves up to that division this year, along with Pine Bush are also involved as well. But the key for Middletown this year, what are we gonna see out of that offensive and defensive lines for the Middie Bears? A very experienced, strong, and what I call a lot of heart type players last year that they've lost to graduation. They lost Stefan Monchery, who was a key to before he graduated. He's a state champion in wrestling. He's taken his talents wrestling-wise down to Appalachian State now in Division I. And also Ramir Bradley's off of that line. So there's a lot to replace. I was talking to head coach Tim Strenfeld, and you're going to be hearing about him from him shortly in our pregame. And he talked about the fact that, you know, we'll find out what we're going to see out of that offensive line. Because if they do even minimal blocking this year, you are going to hear the name Jelani Graham throughout this season of Middie Bear football.
No doubt about it. Coach Strenfeld has lots to be excited about coming into this season. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm stoked up right now. You know, we had opening night for Port Jervis in Goshen last night, and opening night all across Section 9 this weekend. A lot of great games. We'll get you updated on the scores as well. But the big one is tonight. Middletown, the defending champs, they're getting set to start their 2024 season up here in Baldwinsville. And Ed, how about this? Let's send it back to the studio. Let's take a couple breaks real quick, and then we'll come back. We'll talk more pregame. We'll have an interview with the coach, and next thing you know, kickoff slated for at 6:30.
And Middie Nation, you're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program. Great service, great staff, great reputation. That's Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, working hard to maintain that reputation they've built over the years. The Steve Dodd team is your go-to for exceptional service, maintenance, and new installations of heating systems, water heaters, and water pumps. Their experienced, licensed, and insured professionals are here for you for simple repairs to full renovations. Call 845-386-2217 and have your heating system checked for the season. Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating. Call today. Mid-City Transit is a proud supporter of the Middletown High School football team, and right now they're looking for drivers to join their team. To apply today, visit midcitytransit.com. Since 1935, Mid-City Transit has been transporting the children of the Middletown School District, always committed to providing those children with a safe, reliable bus service. Mid-City Transit is also available for charters, wedding shuttles, family reunions, and trips. Everyone at Mid-City Transit wishes the Middletown High School football team good luck this season. Go Middies!
This is Middletown High School football on Wall Radio.
Tom Fagione, Ed Estrada here in the press box up in Baldwinsville, New York, as the Middletown Middie Bears get set to kick off their 2025 season. We're going to bring you all the action live and in person here. We want to remind everyone that this broadcast is being presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fairacre Farms, Doylestown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World. Thank all of our sponsors for making this happen. Guys, it is just 10 after 6. We have 20 minutes before 19 minutes and 45 seconds to be precise before the kickoff here of the 2025 season. Our boss, the big man himself, Kevin Halpenny, had a chance to catch up with head coach Tim Strenfeld. And what we want to do right now is we want to bring that action to you right now as the coach gets us all set and primed for the start of the 2025 season.
Hi, Tom. 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Just wanted to reach out to you. Actually, Tom wanted to call you all morning.
Pardon me for that, as we got a little bit of a technical difficulty here. As
my name is Ben Parrish, and I'm with Harry Wilson.
Give me just a second here.
We'll get that up for you. We're going to remind you that our frequencies this evening, 94.1, 94.9, 105.7, 106.3, 106.5, and of course the flagship on AM 1340 Wall Radio. You can also get it via wallradio.com. Take a look at the Wall Radio app to get access, and then also listen on TuneIn and iHeartRadio as well.
All right, Tim Strenfeld and our boss man himself, Kevin Halpenny, going to give you a little pregame interview.
Town Middie Bears, Tim Strenfeld. Coach, thanks as always for giving us some of your time. It is the start of a new season for Middletown football, and it's pretty special. You guys are coming off of the program's first appearance in the state tournament since 1994. What have been like the residual effects of that? Does it feel different now?
I definitely think that the guys have sort of seen success. I think there's been a long time where Middletown was sort of pushed under the rug, and everyone was sort of looking at Newburgh and Monroe for a long time, and it's nice to be back in those conversations with the Newburghs and the Monroes, where it's not just going to be those two teams in AA, and now we're back into it, and the kids understand that, and they have a different mentality going into the summer workouts, into the spring workouts, and they've done a good job this year.
Your comment there just jogged my memory. You guys had to beat Newburgh last year twice at their place.
Correct.
How difficult was that?
I mean, extremely difficult. Newburgh is always a powerhouse, and you know going into the season that they're going to be up there, and that's a game that you circle every year no matter what your records are. But to go in there twice in the same year and get those wins, that's something to really to talk about with those kids from last year. I mean, they had that challenge in front of them, and to beat them in a regular season is one thing, but then to go back there for the Section 9 championship and win again, that talked a lot about those kids and what they wanted to accomplish that year.
Let's talk a little bit about this year's team. What are some of the differences that we'll see from this year's Middie Bear squad as compared to last year?
Well, I mean, with 25 seniors leaving and realistically a majority of those guys playing, you look at our roster and 2 of our starters on offense are back and 2 of our starters on defense are back. And one of those is the same person. We have a lot of big shoes to fill. I mean, those guys really had a huge effect on our program because they were the COVID kids, so they were essentially with our program for 4 years. So they really not only laid a foundation of what you do on the field, but also what you do off the field in the school and being leaders. So, I mean, we have some really big shoes to fill this year. A lot of people just see the football field side of it, but you got to talk about the locker room, what you do in the school, the team in general. So it goes a lot further than the football field. So I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do.
I appreciate your comment there because that's a perfect segue to my next question about your captains, which, of course, the captain's selection has so much to do with, what's going on off the field and at practice. Tell me who were selected as the captains for this year's squad.
So our 3 captains for this year are Joseph Mann, Jelani Graham, and James Mays. And they have really done a good job. We let the kids vote. And we really count the vote right in front of the kids. I know a lot of schools, they'll let the kids vote, and then they'll go in a coach's office, and they'll be like, we don't want that kid as a captain. But I feel, coming as the coach, we sort of talked about it amongst our staff. When it's 4th down and 1, and you need to get that extra yard, you want to talk to the kids in the huddle. We're not going to be in the huddle with those guys. We're not in the locker room with those guys. We're sort of on the sideline. We have to make sure that they understand, hey, well, you're voting for a captain here. This is a big deal. It's not just, the most popular kid or the kid that everyone wants to vote for. It's the kid that, when it's 4th down and 1, you need that extra yard. Who's going to bring that best out of you? And I think that the kids did a really good job voting this year.
Can you tell us a little bit about those 3 captains? What kind of jumps out at you about their character and their ability?
Joel Mann to start. He did not miss a workout in the last 2 years, any off season, and he's gone through some stuff at home, but football's brought the best out of him, and he is one of those silent captains that really does a great job. He's always around the program. We joked about yesterday, we were in the weight room, and he was the last one in the weight room. He was cleaning up. And I said, Joe, I don't know what I'm going to do without you next year, man. I said, you've been here every single day for 2 years. And he's like, Coach, I think I might just come back again. And I said, I love that, man. But he's one of those kids that will really give you his heart. James Mays is another one of those guys who really showed up this year and did a lot in the off season to put his name out there. He's a vocal kid. A lot of kids follow him, and it's fun to hear sort of what happens through James Mays' eyes, because he said he wouldn't even thought he was going to be here. So for him to get voted in was a big deal. And then Jelani Graham, he's Jelani Graham. There is not many like him, and he is truly a leader. I think he was a born leader, and the kids really feed off of him very, very well. And he brings the energy and excitement on the football field. And I think he has a great future ahead of him. So I was glad to see that the kids voted for him.
Let's talk about this season opener. First, how did this match up with Baldwinsville, which is up in the Syracuse area? How did this matchup come to be?
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of scrimmages. I think especially not knowing who was coming back after all those seniors left, I wanted to make sure that we had a scrimmage to really get everybody to play, because I don't like to just jump right in. I like to give our kids a chance. So I was looking for a scrimmage, and everyone wanted to play a week zero game. So I couldn't find anybody from around here. And then I talked to Mr. Coates, our athletic director, and he said, well, hey, you want me to start reaching out? And I said, at this point, I need somebody to play. And if it's a week zero game, it's a week zero game. It is what it is. So he reached out to Baldwinsville, and we sort of connected. The coach is a great guy up there. I said, hey, yeah, sure, let's do it. And we're going up there. I don't know how that one worked out, but it is what it is. So we're going up there today, and that's sort of how it worked out. And then a few months after that, they changed the first week of the football season from the 26th to the 19th. So I wish I knew that was happening, because then I would have definitely played a game in week 0, and then maybe would have been a little bit closer. But at the end of the day, this is a cool experience for the kids, and they're going to go play somebody from a different section, which really also helps get your name out there. So looking forward to it today.
Have you had a chance to see what kind of matchup you guys are going to have against Baldwinsville?
Yeah, they got some big boys up front. They got some speed in the backfield. Their quarterback seems to be a good runner. It's tough. We got just a scrimmage film from them. Obviously, in a scrimmage, you don't show much, but you definitely can see who they have. We shared at the end of last year, once we knew this was coming, we shared last year's films, but I told them, I said, hey, listen, you're going to watch 2 teams on that field, but next year's team is going to be very, very different. I think that we have a good understanding. We're going in there. We're going up there like, hey, a lot of guys are getting their feet wet with varsity football today, and I look forward to see the challenge that arises and how they respond to it.
Coach, we really appreciate you giving us some of your time. I know you got a long bus trip ahead of you. Good luck today against Baldwinsville.
Thank you very much, Cal. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot to Middletown head coach Tim Strenfeld and our own Kevin Halpenny for those words about the Middie Bears and their matchup here against Baldwinsville. We'll take another quick break here in our countdown to kickoff up in Baldwinsville, New York. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
Looking for the perfect Benjamin Moore paint color but feeling overwhelmed?
Honey, do you like this one?
Whatever you want, dear.
How do you like this one?
It's great. They're all great. I don't know. The knowledgeable staff at Rockland Hardware and Paint, RHP, is here to help. Visit RHP for expert consulting advice on color selection, painting ideas and techniques, and more. They'll guide you through all your paint and decorating ideas. Whatever she wants is fine. RHP, Rockland Hardware and Paint, 416 East Main Street, Middletown. When your car needs some TLC, do you know a reliable quality repair shop? Drive over to 86 Auto World at 86 East Main Street, Middletown, where quality meets reliability. Their certified mechanics handle everything from oil changes to engine overhauls, from check engine lights to New York State inspections with precision and care. At 86 Auto World, your vehicle is in good hands. 86 Auto World, your go-to for everything automotive. Trust 86 Auto World, where your car gets the care it deserves.
The way we see it, if you're going to have a store with the word farm in its name, you better carry the freshest products available. And that's why we'd like to thank all the local farmers who provide the fresh dairy that keeps us true to our name, Adams Fairacre Farms.
You're listening to Middletown High School football on the Hudson Valley's Wall Radio.
Welcome back to Pelcher Arthur Stadium in Baldwinsville, New York. Ed Estrada along with Tom Fagione, bringing you Middletown football 2024 style for all of Middie and Nation. Once again, a reminder that you can listen to us at 94.1, 94.9, 105.7, 106.3, 106.5 on the FM dial. And of course, our Patriarch AM 1340 War Radio, also warradio.com. via the War Radio app, and also listen to us on TuneIn and iHeartRadio. Beautiful evening for football to start the high school season for Middletown, but some other teams have already begun their season this year, and Tom's going to tell us all about that.
Ed, you know it, man. Gorgeous night tonight as the Middies take to the field here up in Baldwinsville. But football started not just last night, started on Thursday. How about that? For our out-of-town scoreboard, week 0, we had Marlboro hosting Spackenkill Thursday night, 6 p.m. It was all Marlboro Dukes, 39-3 over Spackenkill. Friday night's games, Newburgh and Section 1 Arlington. Newburgh blanked Arlington 35-0. How about this one? Liberty 49, Fallsburg 26. 6:30 on Friday night, it was the Wallkill Panthers over Poughkeepsie 34-8. Monroe, Big Monroe, headed down to North Rockland. It was all Crusaders 21-14. Ketchum in Section 1 defeated the Presidents of FDR 34-13. And Cornwall beat Burnt Hills Ballston Lake out of Section 2 33-14. It was Haldane of Section 1 over Dover, 26-6. And over in Goshen last night at Gladiator Coliseum, it was all Raiders as Port Jervis 61, Goshen 28. Last but not least, our broadcast brothers across the river in Delaware Valley. Delaware Valley is 0-3 right now as they come up short against Central York, 31-20. Afternoon games today include New Paltz at Rondout, Monticello at Saugerties, Red Hook's hosting Beacon, Minnesinks at Suffering. Warwick, we got a final from Warwick down at Wagner in Staten Island. It was Warwick 27, Wagner 9. Tuckahoe's hosting Chester. Section 1 Nyack is hosting Kingston. And last but not least, LaSalle at Section 2 is hosting Our Lady of Lourdes tonight at 7 p.m.
Of course, we have that special college score.
We got some good college scores. Ed, help me out with that. You're the college man.
First of all, West Point.
Army, big time.
Army, 24-7 over Florida Atlantic. And I always have to mention Syracuse. Everybody knows on the way up, I got to listen to the Orangemen as they defeated Georgia Tech 31-28 as well. We mentioned earlier the weather here in Baldwinsville is just perfect after some heavy rain earlier this morning at 62 degrees, some clouds and sun, as well as a chance of a shower. And some gusty winds, though it doesn't look too bad, about 15 miles an hour, but listen, it's better than snow in central New York at this time of year, and we'll move right into a transition talking a little bit about this matchup between Middletown and Baldwinsville. The Bees come in this coached by Mr. Carl Sanfilippo, who is in his 40th year up here at Baldwinsville, so give him a lot of shout-outs for a great career up here at Baldwinsville. Last year, the Bees finished at 4-6. They actually started the year at 0-4, but were good enough to finish the year at 4-2. And before losing in the sectional semifinal to Cicero North Syracuse. They're returning 12 starters this year, 6 of them on offense, 6 of them on defense. They're likely to use a 3-back set. You're not going to see a lot of passing. They lost last year their quarterback, Greg Marinelli, to graduation, as well as one of their top running backs. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up for Baldwinsville. And they're going to rely on what's a very strong and experienced and big offensive line for that 3-back set. So that there you're going to see the difference between the two teams and trying to find out whose offensive line does all of the work here in Baldwinsville.
Ed, as we know, the road to a state championship is won or lost at the line of scrimmage. Offensive line blocking, whether you're a running team or a passing team, is key. And Middletown will have the task tested early here tonight against the Bees of Baldwinsville. Public address announcer is running through the starting lineups as both teams are lined up on the field right now. And we are just 4 minutes and 25 seconds left before the start of this game.
And as they get ready to do the national anthem, we'll take a break. You're listening to Middletown Football on WAR Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop TWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stoptwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop TWI and their traffic safety program.
Just 15 more minutes.
Oh. Tired of waiting for your much-needed prescriptions? Town Pharmacy in Middletown is here to help. Open early, open late, and open on Sundays. This independent pharmacy won't keep you waiting. They're well-staffed to never leave you without your prescription. And if you can't make it in, they offer free local delivery. Transfer your refills today with Town Pharmacy, just before the traffic circle on Town Road, Middletown.
Next. That was quick.
Ready to buy your Hudson Valley dream home? Now you can achieve your dream and enjoy a great rate from Rhinebeck Bank. Get moving with a great Rhinebeck Bank mortgage and then get moving into your perfect place. No hoops to jump through, no kidding. Apply today and start your house hunting. Just go to rhinebeckbank.com/mortgage and get started. It's that easy. Rhinebeck Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 477976. Your home, your dream, your bank. Rhinebeck Bank.
Listen anywhere on your smartphone or tablet. Download the Wall Radio app for free. The world-famous Wall Radio.
We want to welcome everybody back here to Pelcher Arcaro Stadium in Baldwinsville, New York. Tom, that was a wonderful rendition that we heard here while we were out on break of that national anthem.
Oh, man, absolutely spectacular, beautiful national anthem. And if that doesn't get your juices flowing, I don't know what to tell you. Captains are making their way to the field right now. They will be instructed by the referees as to the rules and regulations of this contest. It is Section 3, the Bees of Baldwinsville against Section 9 defending champs, the Middie Bears, and captains are making their way out in the field. Ed, who do we have as the captains this year?
For Middletown out there is 0, Joseph Mann. Number 1, James May. Number 2, Chase Blackwood is out there, along with Jelani Graham at number 15. We'll try to get you the captains for Baldwinsville. They're shielded. But tell us a little bit about where the teams are located on this field. A little strange, what we're used to, right, Tom?
You know, as everyone knows, at Fowler Field, it's the Middletown, one side of the field has the bleachers. Same thing up here. However, Baldwinsville opts to have their home team on the opposite side
with
of the
no
field.
fans behind them. Yeah,
you know what that's all about. I mean, coach for 40 years, he's probably heard a few things in the crowd. Coach Stan Filippo says, you know what, on the opposite side here, no stands behind me, no back, no armchair quarterbacks or coaches behind him there. But 40 years of coaching,
I was just going to say,
got to know a few things.
I was about to say that's why he's lasted 40 years up here at Baldwinsville. I'm looking in the stands as they continue to get filled. We do have some Middie folks who've made the 3-hour trek to central New York, but I also see some folks from Liverpool doing some scouting against the Baldwinsville Bees as our official just tosses the coin up in the air. It looks like Middletown might have won the toss because he's talking to them. Middletown again led in the QB slot by Joe Royal.
Joe Royal. He's been playing, 2-3 years?
This is his third season.
Is he in high school yet?
And the Middie Bears declined, so they'll take the ball in the second half, and Baldwins will be receiving. The Middie Bears in their white shirts with black pants. I almost said the Red Raiders. I should have, because Baldwinsville has the red shirts with white numbers. They will be going, obviously you can't tell, but from right to left for Tom and I here in Baldwinsville. The Middie Bears will play defense, defending the left goal for head coach Tim Strenfeld in his 8th season leading the Middie Bears. He's won a couple of Section 9 championships already.
Interesting, Ed. Middletown opts to defend the left side. That means they'll be running into the wind here as the wind is blowing from our right to left. But the Middies decide that, you know what, they want the wind in their face, and that's all right. So Middies get set to kick off the 2025 season. Ed, I am so glad to be here. So glad that Middletown has invited a Port Jervis guy and myself to come do the broadcast. It's a beautiful night for football, and just excited to get things started here tonight for the Middie Bears.
Tayshawn Wade back to receive the kick for Middletown. He's deep along with number 16, Brady Garcia, and number 22, Maxi Capers. And getting ready to kick off for Middletown, number 80, David Suazo Castillo, getting ready to lay that foot on the pigskin and get this Middie Nation football started for 2024, defending their Section 9 championship right here on Wall Radio.
Castillo, 5'11", 195-pound senior kicker, and he is going to be the first Middie Bear to touch the football to start this season. And Ed, just like that, man, the juices are flowing. It is time to go.
Castillo getting ready to kick off. Slight crosswind. It's a short kick coming down at about the 25-yard line, coming right up the middle. He's got some room on the near side. Down the sideline in the Middletown territory is number 16, Brady Garcia, on the short kick. And right off the bat, the Bees have great field position.
Garcia with a nice run right up the gut. Gets it into Middie's territory. It's going to be first down Bees at about the Middie, what are we going to call it, the 39 or 40?
It'll be 1st and 10 for Baldwinsville. They'll go on offense. We'll see who their quarterback is. It is some new folks in the backfield for Baldwinsville. As I mentioned earlier, they graduated their primary quarterback, Greg Marinelli. And it looks like number 12, Luke Primrose, will be the quarterback. 1st and 10 from the Middletown 41 for the Bees. Handoff right up the middle. Inside the 40-yard line, down to the 37, a pickup of 4 for Tayshawn Wade for Baldwinsville. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 6 for Baldwinsville from the Middletown 37-yard line.
Damian Douglas for Middletown on the tackle. Sophomore, 6'1", 265. It's a big boy out there. Nice tackle, but not after the Bees gained 4 on the carry.
Chris Conklin, the Middletown defensive coordinator, very happy with his front 7 here during the practice time. As we bring up a 2nd down and 6. From the shotgun is Primrose. Handoff inside down to the 35-yard line, a pickup of just about 1.5 yards. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 4 for Baldwinsville after the handoff to Brady Garcia, who picked up 1.5 yards.
Garcia with that speed sweep inside, but could not get to the second edge. For Middletown, great defensive play. Stepping up to make the tackle is number 24, Rudy Cherry, the junior linebacker, 6'3", 215.
This is likely 4-down territory deep in Middletown at the Middletown 35-yard line. Primrose from the shotgun. Handoff to Garcia at the 35. Nice job on the tackle that time by Middletown's Joshua Simon.
Garcia with the carry.
Gets near the 1st down marker. I think he's just short.
What do you think? That's a tight mark. They're going to bring the chains out? No, they're going to call it 4th down. Wow.
About 0.5 yard to go, but as we said, it's going to be 4-down territory. You're not going to kick a field goal. Somewhat against the wind here, though the wind seems to be going from the press box away, from the near side to the far side. And it is gusty at about 15 miles an hour. So 4th and about 0.5 yard.
Cool confidence from the Bees of Baldwinsville as they're facing a 4th and 1 here.
This time Primrose under center. He's going to hold on to the football, and he's got a good rush from that big offensive line that we talked about during the pregame. And it's going to be a 1st down for Baldwinsville at the Middletown 26-yard line.
Well, smart play call from Coach Sanfilippo. 4th and short. Tap up the middle by the quarterback. And Primrose, the senior quarterback, 5'11", 175. He's hidden behind that offensive line. How about this guy, Kalen Kennedy? He's a junior, 6'3", 315. Did he play this morning in Syracuse?
There are 5 folks on the line. Measure at 245, 315, 290, 280, and 225.
That's a lot of people out there.
1st and 10 for the Bees at the Middletown 26. Primrose from the shotgun. Bad snap. It goes over his head back near the 35. He collects and then finds a receiver wide open down the near sideline. That's going to be a Baldwinsville touchdown to number 13, Chris Zeller, on a botched play. 26 yards on the fumble, recovery, and the throw.
Oh, bad snap from the Baldwinsville Bees, recovered by Primrose. And you talk about just a steady hand back there. And he looks downfield, and Chris Zeller, smart move. He came back to the quarterback. When he, looked back, he saw the ball was over the quarterback's head, came back, quarterback to the receiver connection. Middletown had bit on the high snap, and it was the Bees in for the touchdown.
And the Mid-City extra point try by Jonathan Widrick. Snap is down, the kick is up, and it is good. And with 9:06 remaining here in the first quarter, the Bees take the opening drive, 41 yards total, for a touchdown after a broken play and a nice recovery by senior quarterback Luke Primrose, finding down the near sideline Chris Zeller for 26 yards out. And the Bees go in front 7-0, and we'll see how Middletown responds on offense. We'll keep it right here at Baldwinsville after that initial touchdown, and now Middletown will get a chance to return the football. Going back to receive the kick for the Middie Bears, Javion Raldon, number 7, along with number 4, Joshua Simon, and on the near side, number 23, is Kayvon Harrison.
Number 7, Javion Raldon.
And the kicker, Jonathan Widrick, fresh off the Mid-City extra point, in to kick off from the 40-yard line.
23,
that was a nice kick, by the way, by that Bees kicker.
How about this? The Bees kick off from the hash mark. They don't choose the middle of the field. They like to kick off from the hash mark. Middletown will have to adapt to that.
It's a low squibbler coming down at the 35, and a nice job by Jaden Faison just to fall on the football and take it at the 35-yard line, where the Middie Bears will start their first offensive series of 2024, trailing in the ball game 7-0.
The Bees drive summary is 5 plays, 41 yards, capped off by that 26-yard touchdown pass. And remember, the kickoff return by Baldwinsville put them in Middie territory. Middies held Baldwinsville to the 4th down, but Baldwinsville was able to get the 1st down, and from there, they capitalized and got in for the first score of the night.
Middie Bear quarterback in his 3rd season, now as a freshman under center. They hand off this time to number 24, trying to find the far outside before he finally moves it up for a short gainer of about a yard. That was number 24 for the Middie Bears, Rudy Cherry, on the carry.
Cherry tried to cut the edge, but Baldwinsville really spread out the defense there. Cherry could not get the edge. He was lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage, and they might have given him an inch or more, but we'll call it the line of scrimmage. So no on the carry. 2nd and 10 for Middletown at their own 35.
JoJo Royal.
Guy's been a quarterback forever, right?
Yeah,
he's just a freshman.
As a 7th grader.
Gotta love it.
Handoff up the middle. Jelani Graham trying to ride that Middletown offensive line for a couple of yards. A nice job that time on the tackle by Baldwinsville, number 26, Jordan White.
Good defensive line there by Baldwinsville. How about this guy? Mitch Burlingame, 85. He's a tight end and defensive end, 6'3", 225. He held the line of scrimmage. Graham had nowhere to go, but was able to inch it up for about a 1-yard pickup. Now they're going to give him 2.
And that's how it's going to be most of this game. It's going to be the battle of the lines. And 3rd and long, 3rd and 8 for JoJo Royal and the Middie Bears from their own 37-yard line. He scrambles over to the left side, looking downfield, trying to get around the corner, but nothing doing by that Bees defense. A late flag. Might be a late hit out of bounds. That would be a big one for the Middie Bears.
JoJo was running to the sidelines. He was almost out of bounds. Looks like maybe he was out of bounds, and the Bees put a little extra on him. We'll see how that gets decided.
And if that is...
There was a loss on the play, no less, for JoJo.
Yeah, it was a 3-yard loss. Back to the 34-yard line. The officials are discussing where they're going to mark it right now, but I do see Baldwinsville moving back.
Yeah. Well, if it's a personal foul, no less, it'll be a 1st down for Middletown.
Now, not saying it's a personal, it might be a face mask incidental, and if it is, it would not be a 1st down, but here's the call by the official.
Be hard-pressed. It
and
is.
That's
there you
exactly
go.
What it is.
Boy,
it is
Eagle-Eye Ed.
And it's a 1st down, so it is a personal foul face mask that's going to give Middletown the football right at midfield and a very important 1st down with some help from the Bees.
Boy, how about that? Would have been a 4th down for Middletown. The Bees with the face mask. It's 1st and 10 Middletown at the 50-yard line. You talk about a swing, and Middletown needs to capitalize on this. Got to establish that line of scrimmage, get the running game moving north and south.
Royal this time from the shotgun. Back to pass. On the near side, he's got Rudy Cherry, but a nice job covered on the play by Baldwinsville number 34, Dylan Garcia.
I'll tell you what, that ball was tipped. Royal had that ball tipped at the line of scrimmage. Cherry was able to bring it in, and
it's a loss of 2 on the play. Back to the 48. It's going to be 2nd and 12 for Middletown. That play, Tom, just looked... It took too long to develop.
Slow. You know, there's an arc to the ball, but once the ball gets tipped, then all the timing is off. I give Cherry a lot of credit for making that catch.
Royal back to pass. Rolling out to his left. Downfield, he's got a receiver and a 1st down inside the 40 of Baldwinsville. With the catch, number 5, Aiden Barbosa for Middletown, and that's a Middie Bear 1st down.
Boy, Barbosa gets himself between the linebackers and the corner and safety, finds that open seam. Royal threads the needle. That's what Middletown needs. What that does to the Bee defense now is the Bees say, whoa, these guys can throw the ball. We're going to take a step back from the corners and the safeties. And the Middletown running game, if the line of scrimmage can hold the line, this is where Middletown can use the pass and the run option to keep Baldwinsville on their back heels.
And this drive sponsored by our 1st quarter sponsor, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating. 1st and 10, and there's a whistle on the play before it snapped. might have been, it's not a delay of game. There is some clock left on there. They're looking towards the Middletown sideline as the officials get together.
Barbosa, 13 yards on that pickup on the pass play.
They're just going to restart the clock.
Remember, it's week 0, even for the referees,
yep.
So
it's
get it right.
It's fall training instead of spring training.
So they'll redo the down, first down for Middletown.
1st and 10 from the 39 of Baldwinsville. The Middie Bears trail it with 6:22. Going downfield once again. He finds them at the 35-yard line for the reception. That's Barbosa, who's got 2 catches in a row now for Middletown. It's a pickup of 6, and it's going to bring up a 2nd and 4 from the Baldwinsville 33-yard line for Middletown.
Sometimes those plays, those pass plays, those short pass plays are the same exact thing as a run play. Your linemen hold the line of scrimmage, a quick little pass to the flats or into the open zone like that by Barbosa, and there you go. You got a 2nd and short now. Smart play call from Middletown.
And as the year starts off, you start to see who the favorite targets become from the quarterback. Middletown has 3 receivers on the right-hand side, 1 to the left. Back to passes, JoJo Royal. Rudy Cherry at the 30, the 25, another Middletown first down, deep inside Baldwinsville territory for the Middies.
How about that? Again, flexing that defense for the Bees. Middletown is spreading the offense out through the air. And if you're an offensive lineman, you got to love that because you get a chance to work on your pass protection, and then next thing you know, you're going to do a run play, and those defensive linemen are thinking pass, 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 and that's when you can really pancake those guys.
And we've already seen an adjustment by Middletown head coach Tim Strenfel on this very first drive from a running attack to a passing attack. This time it's a handoff up to middle to Graham. He's got some good yardage inside the 20, or they'll mark him down right at the 20-yard line. A pickup of 4, bringing up 2nd and 6 for Middletown from the Baldwinsville 20-yard line.
Nice run up the middle there.
Also want to thank our title sponsor, the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. As Middletown goes on the attack, 2nd and 6 from the Baldwinsville 20.
Middletown's playing with a little bit of confidence right now. Little air game, little run game.
Handoff once again to Graham on the inside. He finds some running room, and it looks just to be short, a yard short of the first down. It's at the 15-yard line, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 1 for Middletown in what's likely to be 4-down territory.
Tell you what, Graham looking strong, running the ball, makes some decisions, steps out to the right, steps back to the left, right past the line of scrimmage, and it is, as you mentioned, Ed, 3rd and short.
3rd and short, as you can hear in the background from the public address announcer here at Pelcher Arcaro Stadium in Baldwinsville. Jelani Graham with the handoff, and that's a lot of a late flag coming in. And we'll see what it is. Hopefully it's not a hold against Middletown, because he had the first down.
Graham did that all on his own.
Yeah, and he already had the first down when the flag came out.
And we'll see what happens here. Could be another face mask against Baldwinsville. Let's see. Oh, it's got to be the hold. Against the defense.
Wow.
How about that?
So that'll make the play stand with the first down. And that first down sponsored by Rockland Paint and Hardware, who'll be our sponsor for our halftime show as well.
So they're going to have to distance that, right? It's going to be 1st and goal for Middletown at the 6.
Okay. This makes more sense now, Tom. He changed his signal when he just said there as a face mask.
There you go.
So it's going to be 1st and goal for the Middie Bears from the 5-yard line. They trail 7-0 with 3:56 remaining here in the first quarter. The give to number 8 for the Middie Bears is Jaden Faison, still running into the end zone as he takes Baldwinsville with him, and that's a Middletown touchdown with 3:48 left in the first quarter.
How about Faison, huh? And the whole offensive line. That was a rugby scrum.
He took the ball off of a sweep at the 5-yard line. Looked like he was stopped at about the 3, but he dragged the Bees with him into the end zone as we get ready for the Mid-City Transit extra point. Suazo Castillo in for that Mid-City extra point for Middletown off the hold by Joseph Mann. It's a good snap. The kick is up, and we are all tied up, Middie Nation, with 3:48 left In the first quarter, it's Middletown 7 and Baldwinsville 7 right here from Baldwinsville, New York. As we head to a break, you're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop, DWI, and Traffic Safety Program.
Great service, great reputation. That's Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, working hard to maintain that reputation they've built over the years. The Steve Dodd team is your go-to for exceptional service, maintenance, and new installations of heating systems, water heaters, and water pumps. Their experienced, licensed, and insured professionals are here for you for simple repairs to full renovations. Call 845-386-2217 and have your heating system checked for the season. Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating. Call today.
Back to the action of Middie's football on the world-famous Wall Radio.
Welcome back to Peltier Arcaro Stadium. Ed Estrada and Tom Fagione from Baldwinsville, New York. The Middie Bears on their opening drive put a score up on the board to tie it all up with 3:48 remaining. As you're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, the greatest hits for Orange County and the Hudson Valley.
Quick out-of-town scoreboard. Harrison Bader for a home run with the Mets. The Mets top the Reds right now in the 6th inning, 1-0. My Mets are my team. I got to root for them.
Me too, my friend.
Boy, they've turned the corner big
Yankee
time.
Fans.
Yankees, never heard of them.
A much better kick for Middletown, this time back to the 15-yard line. Over across the 20, now to the 30, still on his feet for Baldwinsville, trying to find the near side before he's finally brought down past the 30-yard line. That's Tayshawn Wade on the kick as the lights finally come on here in Baldwinsville. Marquise Burgos with the stop for Middletown. And it'll be 1st and 10 for Baldwinsville from their own 33-yard line with the game tied and 3:40 remaining here in the first.
That's a 9-play drive for Middletown. It started at their own 35, capped off by that 6-yard touchdown run, and Middletown ties things up here.
Primrose under center. They hand off to number 16, who's on his feet, finally brought down by Joseph Mann, a good gainer on first down of about 4 yards. Call it 5, so it's going to be 2nd and 5. Number 16, Brady Garcia on the carry.
Boy, they have
him
the on the roster at 5'10". He looks a lot taller out there.
He does. So 2nd and 5 for Baldwinsville. Primrose will go under center once again. Much better job that time by that Middletown front line. Back to pass for the first time is Primrose. And he's got a receiver on the far side across midfield. It's going to be a first down. Number 15 is Aiden Wachalewski. Actually, they gave it to number 14, Aaron Holcomb. So 1st and 10 for Baldwinsville inside Middletown territory at the 47-yard line.
Sure looked like a 15 out there, but first down nonetheless, and Baldwinsville in Middie territory.
Yeah, I think I was right. I think it was number 15.
Ed, I'm going with you, my friend.
So that's a second successful pass attempt. The first one on a broken play led to a touchdown for Baldwinsville. This time they're going to hand the ball off. And a nice stop that time by that Middletown front line. See if I can get a number for you. It might have been Jelani Graham coming out.
Stepping up, yeah.
From the linebacker slot.
That was Tayshawn Wade again for Baldwinsville on the carry. But Graham with the nice tackle.
2 yards as the stands begin to get filled up here at Baldwinsville. 2nd and 8.
Fans were probably wondering if it was going to be good weather for the game or bad weather. Forecast had rain and wind, but so far we have a nice breeze. Beautiful sky here tonight. Great night for football.
Split receivers to either side. Primrose sweeps it back on the inside. What a tackle that time by Middletown's Joshua Simon. Tayshawn Wade on the carry, did not pick up anything. Might have lost a yard on the play. We'll see where they mark the football. They are going to get him back to the line of scrimmage. So 3rd down and 8, and a big opportunity here, Tom, for this Middletown defense.
Middletown defense on that play looked strong. Wade had nowhere to go, and just like that, it's 3rd down long for Baldwinsville. Middletown's got to be playing both sides of the ball now. Got to feel good.
Yeah, they got those butterflies out after that initial opening series by the Bees. And with 1.5 left here in the first quarter, it's 3rd and 8 for Baldwinsville. Split receivers. Primrose from the shotgun. They're from the Middletown 45-yard line, and he connects over the middle. It's going to be first down and more inside the 20. A missed tackle, and he gets down to the 10-yard line. That's number 14, Aaron Holcomb for Baldwinsville, and a big connection for the Bees down to the Middletown 10.
Oh, the Bees sucked Middletown in on that play fake, and Garcia sold it real well at the play fake. First down for the Bees at the Middie 10. 35-yard pickup on the carry.
There's a reason. The pass. There's a reason why head coach Sanfilippo has been here for 40 years.
Man's cool customer.
Primrose under center at the Middletown 10. 1st and 10. Rolling to his right, looking downfield, might keep the football, and does. He's inside the 10, down to the 5, before he's finally brought down by Middletown's Jelani Graham. But a good gainer on 1st and goal, and it's going to be 2nd and goal from the 5 for Baldwinsville inside of a minute here in the first quarter.
With Joseph Pasho, number 50 for Baldwinsville. Right guard, he comes out to provide protection for Garcia, and he gives him just the edge he needed. How about this for your guard? 6 foot, 245. Both sides of the line, both teams. These guys are stacked, tackle to tackle.
Clock running with 20 seconds left. 2nd and goal. Primrose under center. Handoff. On the far side, inside the 5. Does he get to the end zone? He does. Number 16, Brady Garcia on the 5-yard touchdown run. And with 13 seconds left in the first quarter, the Bees have taken a 13-7 lead here in Baldwinsville.
Well, we knew it was going to be a line of scrimmage type of game, and Baldwinsville there, they capitalize and score from the edge. And as you just mentioned, it is 13-7 Baldwinsville.
Widrick in for the Mid-City Transit extra point. He was true on his first attempt. Ball being held by Cameron Morial, the backup quarterback, so you got to be careful here on a bad snap.
No, they can't. They got to count to 11. They got 10 men out there for Baldwinsville, I believe.
10 seconds. They're scrambling. He's going to have to call a timeout, I think, which is a waste.
Oh, boy. Coach Sanfilippo, 40 years doing this. These are the things that really bug you.
Yeah, needs to call the timeout.
So, Ed, we're going to keep it here as we recap things right now. 13 seconds here left in the first quarter. It's Baldwinsville 13, Middletown 7. Ed, talk about that last drive right there. Middletown seemed to have some chances there defensively to shut things down, but the Bees just never gave up.
Both sides, both coaches have done an outstanding job of adjusting within a drive, because for Middletown, when they scored on their drive, the running game wasn't working. The first couple of plays had them 3rd and long, goes out of bounds, looks like it's going to be 4th down. You're going to have to kick after not having a great kickoff. But what happens? Flag gets thrown, personal foul, face mask, gives Middletown a first down, and coach adjusts. Instead of running the football, he turns to the passing game, and they get it downfield with JoJo Royal hitting different receivers.
Short passing. You know, sometimes in high school football, these teams, they want to go vertical. They want to go all the way down the field. Middletown did a great job of opening up that defense of Baldwinsville by those short passes. And if you're a linebacker, you know, you're caught between, I got to stop the run, I got to stop the pass.
Jonathan Widrick, the Mid-City extra point for Baldwinsville. A little bit of a high snap, but he gets the kick up, and it is good. And with 13 seconds left in the first quarter, Baldwinsville leads at 14-7. We want to again remind you that our title sponsor, the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, and our first quarter sponsor, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating. We want to thank all of them for helping us bring you Middletown football here in 2024. And just like Middletown head coach Tim Strenfel adjusted on his drive, we've seen a lot more passing from Baldwinsville than any of us thought we'd see in the first quarter.
Coach said coming into this game, they were a running team, a running team. But Baldwinsville said, you know what, we may run the ball, but we like to throw the ball once in a while when we have to as well. I'll tell you one thing, very disciplined Middletown team. Remember, Baldwinsville, a couple of big penalties. They've been able to come back from those penalties. Middletown now is going to get the ball back, and Middletown needs to go back to what they did. They got to get a good long drive here going. Probably get maybe a play, maybe 2 plays before this first quarter's over. But Middletown has to continue to stick to their game plan. They look strong. They might have to just tighten up a few things on defense. Remember, it's the first game of the season.
Absolutely. But so far, both offenses have looked pretty good.
Absolutely.
Getting ready for the kickoff from Widrick. Another squibber down the near sideline. Finally picked up inside the 12. He touches the football.
Oh, that's terrible.
And that's going to be 1st and 10. Unfortunately, a little bit of indecision by Harrison for Middletown was going to give the Middie Bears poor field position with 13 seconds still left. Nothing came off the clock as the ball goes out at about the 13-yard line. I think Harrison thought it would go out of bounds. He was hoping there would be a flag at that point, but he did touch it at the very last second.
Here's the game reset for Harrison. That ball doesn't roll out of bounds. It's a live ball. Baldwinsville can jump on it. Runs out of bounds. Baldwinsville is assessed a penalty. It's 1st and 10 Middletown at their own 35. However, he grabbed the ball and it then rolled out of bounds. It's 1st down Middletown at their own 13-yard line.
JoJo Royal from deep in his own territory. Little bit of a problem with the exchange. Graham does get it and just bowls himself forward and gets some halfway decent yardage, considering as we're going to end the first quarter on that note after the 3-yard pickup from Graham. So on the back end, as we start the second, it'll be Middletown football, 2nd and 7. As we go to break, 14-7, Baldwinsville leading Middletown. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You can walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program. Mid-City Transit is a proud supporter of the Middletown High School football team, and right now they're looking for drivers to join their team. To apply today, visit midcitytransit.com. Since 1935, Mid-City Transit has been transporting the children of the Middletown School District, always committed to providing those children with a safe, reliable bus service. Mid-City Transit is also available for charters, wedding shuttles, family reunions, and trips. Everyone at Mid-City Transit wishes the Middletown High School football team good luck this season. Go Middies!
The Hudson Valley's greatest hits. Your home for Middies football. The world-famous Wall Radio.
Back here in Pelcher Arcaro Stadium, 2nd and 7 for Middletown from their own 16-yard line. Back to pass, JoJo Royal getting some pressure on the near side. He finds Rudy Cherry at the 20, the 25-yard line before he goes out of bounds beyond the 25, near the 30-yard line. That'll be a Middletown 1st down.
Boy, nice play by Middletown. Royal, left-handed quarterback, rolls to his left. This freshman has great poise behind that line.
He did not panic, yep.
He is cool customer, and he's got a good receiver in Cherry there. Cherry catches the ball, knows what he has to do. He has to turn upfield, get what he can get, and boy, did he ever. Got himself a nice 1st down for Middletown.
Looked like he might have wanted to go downfield. There is a flag on the play that's thrown by the official.
Interesting. Inside
the Bees huddle. It looks like too many men, I think.
Well, if they break the huddle with 12 men, that's called what, the illegal substitution or illegal participation. We'll see how that's getting called out.
And I think it's against Baldwinsville.
Yeah.
As the official is talking to them now. So an illegal substitution for Baldwinsville is going to cost them 5 yards.
Yeah, Baldwinsville players coming in and out. 26, Jordan White, coming to the sidelines. Doesn't know if he's in, he's out, he's back in again. No, let's see if they move this ball. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty against Beeville. Check that. It's going to be a 10-yard penalty, a 15-yarder. How about this?
Maybe something was it was the unsportsmanlike signal that came out, actually. So that's the second 15-yard penalty against Baldwinsville here in the first half. The first one cost them a touchdown on that Middletown drive. Let's see what happens here. 1st and 10 Middletown at their own 44.
Official timeout on the field. Now, I think the referee needs to explain this to the sidelines, perhaps. Yeah, as Coach Sanfilippo wants an explanation. 40 years doing this, I think you deserve the opportunity to ask the ref that.
We want to remind you that War Radio's broadcast is presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fairacre Farm, Dolsontown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World. We want to thank all of our War Radio sponsors. So 1st and 10 for Middletown, their own 44-yard line. We're getting ready here. JoJo Royal from the shotgun. Tries to go on the far side. A nice job by the Middletown receiver. That's Aiden Barbosa, who's having a big game here, and some late flags. One of the Middletown players has his hand in his helmet, so I'm wondering if that might have been a hold downfield after the catch.
How about Barbosa, though? Gets the catch in the flats, makes a nice move in and out, cuts outside. Gets some big yards for Middletown, but it looks like they're going to bring this back. The flags are down at the Beeville 44, so they're going to spot the foul there. It's going to be a hold against Middletown.
So it'll probably come down to 2nd and 7 after this. They'll mark off 10 yards from the spot of the foul, which looks to be the Baldwinsville 43-yard line.
So they'll give them 10 on the reception, then they'll move them back 10. So the ball's probably going to be just a yard or two. Yep, there we go. So they're going to do the down over again. It'll be first down Middletown at their own 47-yard line. So in essence, it's a 2 or 3 yard penalty.
Yep.
First down and 7.
But it negates the big reception by Barbosa.
They get the play to do down over again. So in essence, it's 1st and 7 for Middletown.
Cherry goes in motion to the right. Royal from the shotgun, straight back to pass over the middle. On the near side's got Barbosa once again, and with the spin tackle by Baldwinsville, he might have gotten a first down, and the officials are indicating it's a first down, a pickup of 7 on the play from Royal to Aiden Barbosa.
Barbosa, smart player, junior, 5'10", $165. He's got good football IQ out there. Catches that ball, knows he can't go outside, so he spins around and goes straight upfield, gets the marker, first down Middletown.
Inside 11 minutes here in the first half. Middletown trails at 14-7. 2 receivers on the near side, 1 to the far side for the Middie Bears, but the handoffs to Graham up the middle. He's at the 40-yard line and inside the 40, or they'll mark him down right there for a big pickup of 6 yards. It's going to bring up 2nd and 4 for Middletown from the Baldwinsville 40-yard line.
That's when, if you're Beeville, you have to get nervous when you see Graham do a little step left and a little step right, and then what he does is he just goes straight at you. And Graham just did that off tackle left, got 6 positive yards on that carry, brings up a 2nd and short. And if Graham is getting 6 yards a clip on a run like that, that Beeville defense has got their work cut out for them.
Stiff breeze going against Middletown here. Cherry this time comes to the near side. He's got 2 receivers on the near side, but the give to Graham again. Does a nice side step in the middle, but there's a flag thrown on the play in the backfield. A beautiful job by Graham getting all the way inside the 30-yard line. It would result in a first down, but this one likely to come back.
Graham, again, getting stronger and stronger as his first half develops. Nice play, nice run. Maybe aided by a little bit of a grab by the inside lineman.
Not aided too much because the officials did catch it, I think, and they're going to mark it back.
There it is. That's a spot foul, too.
If he aided, he didn't hide it too much.
So the hold will be against Middletown.
It's like one of those crimes, aiding and abetting.
That's it. The spot foul is at the 40, so it's at the line of scrimmage. They'll move them back 10. Middletown's trying to say, no, we don't want that, because they're trying to huddle at the 47, and the referee says, no, you got to move a little bit.
So the ball's going to be marked at midfield. It's going to bring up 2nd down and 14 from midfield for Middletown after the holding call brings back a big gainer by Graham. This time 3 receivers on the far side of the field for JoJo Royal, who's working from the shotgun. He goes straight back to pass, looking downfield, overthrows the intended receiver, almost intercepted by number 84, Noah Proper for Baldwinsville. but it falls incomplete. It's going to bring up second down for Middletown from midfield. Actually, third down.
I think that's JoJo's first incomplete pass of the night, and my stat sheet says yes.
Yep.
First incomplete from Royal, and he's lucky, boy. That ball, there were two people out there, and they had red jerseys on.
I was going to say.
Last time I checked, Middletown doesn't wear red, so Royal got away with that one. Third down now at the 50 for the Bears.
Trips receivers to the far side. Royal back to pass. There's a big rush, a little bit of a screen pass to Graham on the inside at the 50. He's at the 45-yard line, but he's going to be short of the first down by about 6 yards.
Boy,
Gets it inside the 45 to the 42.
Love the play call. Too many times. You see it in college. You see it in high school. That coaches go to that screen pass too much, and the defense knows it's coming. That was the first call for the screen pass tonight, and that Beeville defensive line bit hard. They were on Royal's neck.
It worked, but he slipped at the 50-yard line when he tried to cut back, and that kind of broke his momentum a little bit.
Graham knew it, too, because he's like, I know if I can get in the middle of the field, I can get some big yards, but it's go-for-it time now. You think Middletown have to go for it here, right?
Yep, and they are. Joe Royal from the shotgun. Graham's to his left. 4th down and 6. Back to pass, rolling to the near side. Going downfield, looking for the touchdown, and just overthrows Joseph Mann on the near side by about 2 or 3 yards. Had him wide open. Needed a little bit more loft on the pass. Didn't quite work, and it's a turnover on downs for Middletown.
Well, I'll tell you what, I give Middletown credit for making that gutsy play call, and a man just could not get underneath it. Royal sailed that far and down the sidelines, but man did all he could at 6 foot, $170. He was on the sidelines, on his jets, but the ball was just overthrown. It'll be first and 10 for the Bees at their own 42-yard line.
And with 8:36 remaining, I want to remind you that our title sponsor for Middletown football, the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. First and 10 for the Bees from their own 42-yard line. The pitch back, looking up the middle, dropped at the 45, a pickup of 3 yards on the play for Tayshawn Wade, who's had the majority. Tayshawn Wade and also Brady Garcia have been the primary backs here in the first half for Baldwinsville.
Yeah, nice run. Middletown's defense stepped up. Short gain for the Bees. They'll give them 3 on the carry.
2nd and 7 for Beeville.
This feels like a week 1 game. Teams feeling each other out, trying to reestablish a line of scrimmage, establish a line of scrimmage. Both teams are just working in their magic.
Primrose under center for the Bees. Fumble on the play. I believe it's recovered by Middletown, and it is. The Middie Bears get the football right back.
How about that?
I couldn't see who recovered the football, but when Primrose went back, he was supposed to hand off to the deep back, but hit by mistake by the front back. Ball goes to the ground, scooped up by Middletown. 1st and 10 for the Middie Bears from the 44-yard line. So really, after all that exchange, the Middies just lost 2 yards. That's it.
But the best thing about it is the Middies get the ball back 1st and 10. And if you're the Bees up here right now, you're saying to yourself, we've had some real stupid penalties tonight. And that type of fumble right there is 100% unacceptable. JoJo Royal from the sidelines now. You have to go in that huddle full of confidence and say, guys, let's do this now. Let's really get on top of this game.
Middletown took advantage of the first big mistake by Baldwinsville, which was a 15-yard penalty. Now we'll see if they can take the turnover of the game, and there's going to be a delay of game against Middletown. That's going to cost them 5 yards. Not what you wanted to do to start a drive after recovering a fumble. Now, Middletown is one of these teams that does have their quarterback run to the sideline to get its plays. So a couple of years ago when JoJo was the quarterback in his first year, it did create a lot of penalties, but they've kind of worked those out. Royal back to pass, needing to roll, found his safety valve in Cherry, but he couldn't get open, covered on the play by number 22 for the Bees, Masci Capers.
I think if you're Middletown, you want to go back to that running game. Get the ball in the hands of Jelani Graham. Bees turn that ball over on a a bad mistake at the line of scrimmage. If I'm Middletown, I'm like, got the big uglies up front, hold the blocks, let's get Graham, let's get him moving north to south, let's really move this Bees defense backwards. So let's see if they do that. Graham's a solo back in the backfield now. He's my guy I'd call on this play.
Royal under center. Hand off to Graham. He's on the far side, the 50, the 45. Bowls over a couple of players. There is a flag on the play. Now, it looks like it's going to be holding against the Middie Bears, I believe.
It looks like it was one of the receivers out there on the hold, and that's the guy Graham ran into. He's probably trying to break the hold.
Yeah, when I said he bowled over, I meant not only their player, but our player as well.
So Middletown now getting themselves into some mistakes. That's the last penalty prior to this was the delay on the first play. Then we had the hold on the last, there were 2 holding penalties on the last drive for Middletown. So they got to tighten things up on this offense. Beeville's giving them chances. Middletown's like really not taking advantage of them now like they did early on in the first quarter.
And as you mentioned, you know, you'll see this in these opening games to start the season for both these teams, but it's going to be about 2nd and 20, I believe, 2nd and 19. The ball's at the Middletown 47-yard line. They need to get all the way to the Baldwinsville 34 to advance the chains. And Royal's going to have to hurry up again here. There's 10 seconds left, and I think head coach Tim Strenfield's going to have to call a timeout.
And that's going to be timeout on the field.
So timeout, Middletown, 7:16 remaining. We're going to head to a break. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop TWI and Traffic Safety Program.
Elevate your home with stunning wallpaper and paint from Rockland Hardware and Paint, RHP. There's no need to compromise on quality to get a good price. You can have both. RHP offers a wide selection of quality Benjamin Moore paints and supplies at prices that won't break the bank or your budget. RHP, Rockland Hardware and Paint, 416 East Main Street, Middletown.
The Middies are in action. Catch the play-by-play all season here on Wall Radio.
Back here in Baldwinsville, New York at Estrada Time Fashion. 14-7 Baldwinsville. Middletown facing a 2nd and 20 from their own 47.
That's right. Beeville up 14-7 against Middletown. We'll have a out-of-town scoreboard update in just a moment after this play.
Royal from the shotgun, going straight back to pass, looking downfield, and he gets rushed hard as he took the football back down. He didn't see his receiver quite open, and that gave Baldwinsville enough time to come down with the sack. That's number 85 for the Bees, Mitch Burlingame.
Boy,
the big guy.
And a loss for Middletown. Ball's now at the 44. Quick out-of-town scoreboard update. It's Menacing Valley over Suffern today, 36-27. Of course, we already know that Warwick beat Wagner of Staten Island. Warwick on the big road trip down to Staten Island. Wonder what the bus toll was on that one. 27-9 Warwick. Good thing for Middletown and the charter bus. No tolls up here to Beeville.
3rd and long for the Middie Bears. Back to pass is Royal. Going to just heave it up over the middle. Almost had the connection before it's picked off at the 30-yard line. No harm, no foul for if you're Middletown. There's a late flag, and I'm wondering if there was a little bit too much exuberance on the celebration after the interception.
Well, I don't know if that was a lot of exuberance, but that was a great interception. The pick, Graham was tipped. It was Jelani Graham. The ball came out of it. It was Graham, right? Downfield?
No, it was Barbosa.
Oh, Barbosa
came
5.
down with it.
And then it was Wojciechowski, number 15 for the Bees with the, or check that. Yeah. It was Valentine, right? 5 on the pick.
And a lot of bad penalties, Tom. You mentioned it earlier, and this one's going to get marked off on sportsmanlike conduct on behalf of Baldwinsville. That's their 2nd one in this ball game and 3rd personal foul so far here in the first half.
Wow, so they are going to call that celebration.
And now a big opportunity for Middletown's defense here to step up because Baldwinsville's going to be deep in their own territory. They mark the football just beyond the 15-yard line where the Bees will have 1st and 10 with 6:24 remaining, and they lead in the ball game 14-7.
Well, that's the thing, you know, you have the excitement of getting the turnover, you get the ball back, but then you shoot yourself in the foot by doing a stupid penalty like that. And so Beeville will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 16, where they would have had it at the 30-plus yard line. And you got Middletown on their heels because of the turnover. So Middletown defense now says, hey, offense, we're going to step up and help you out now.
You would think that they're going to try to run with this offensive line deep in their own territory. 1st and 10, the handoff. And that's Garcia on the far side. Nice shoestring tackle by Middletown's number 26, Prince Okoko.
And that was nice. That's what you have to do with those big running backs. Got to cut them in half. Either take them from the hip or below. Garcia is a smart running back.
He picked up 5 on the play, so it's ball's marked at the 21. 2nd and 5 for Baldwinsville.
5:55 here left in this first half.
I'm going to remind you to listen to Kate Brennan in the mornings on War Radio as we continue with Middletown football on War Radio.
Boy, both teams not panicking. Both very calm and collected, even with the mistakes.
3-back set. Wade on the carry. Nice job by that Middletown defensive line. Might have picked up a yard, but it looks like nothing. And it's going to bring up 3rd down for Baldwinsville. And a big play coming up for this Middletown defense with 5.5 remaining in the first half, trailing by 7.
That's what we call the multiple choice tackle. You just look at who's on the field for Middletown's defense, and it's multiple choice because they were all in on that tackle.
3rd and 5. Primrose will be in the shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side. He's rolling to the right. Now goes back to his left with some Middletown pressure. Trying to get beyond, and he gets beyond one of the would-be tacklers and gets enough down that far sideline for a Baldwinsville 1st down at the 35.
Boy, Primrose smart to know on that rollout. There was heavy rush on his right side. There was no rush on his left side, and he took full advantage of that big 1st down for Beeville.
Middie Bears a little too excited. They over-pursued on that play. And once Primrose sidestepped, he was off and running for the 1st down to the far sideline. 4:51 remaining in the first half. 1st and 10 for the Bees from their own 35. Primrose back to pass on the near side. Coming up to make the tackle for Middletown is number 21, but he needs some extra help from Jelani Graham. Hector LeBron with the initial hit, but that not before a 6-yard pickup.
Clock's going to continue to tick. 4:35 here left in this first half. Both teams still holding on to 2 timeouts. It's the Bees of Baldwinsville 14, Middletown 7. So a little bit of clock management going to have to be looked at here for both sides of the ball.
Holcomb with the reception of 6 yards from Primrose for the Bees. 2nd and 4 from their own 41-yard line as the clock continues to run. Middletown will get the football to start the second half.
A breeze still blowing.
Only 3 seconds left on the play clock.
They're not going to get this off.
And they're going to call a timeout.
Yeah, that'll be their second. They have 1 timeout left now. Boy.
So we're going to go to a break here. 4:05 remaining here in the first half. Baldwinsville leads Middletown 14-7. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
Let's give a warm welcome to Audrey and Charlotte Lamb attending their very first game. Put your hands together.
So I think we'll keep it right back here at Baldwinsville, New York. Ed Estrada along with Tom Fagione. Baldwinsville and Middletown with the Bees leading the Middie Bears 14-7. Baldwinsville will have a 2nd down and 4 from their own 41-yard line. And a game that really started off pretty well in that first quarter, but really has slowed down due to penalties and a turnover by the Bees.
Yeah, both teams still feeling themselves out. You know, it's one thing to feel out the other team. It's also you're working out your little, preseason kinks and bumps and bruises and getting yourself into football mode. Coach Strenfeld talked about it in the opening. His team graduated 25 starters on both sides of the ball and the specials. So a lot of gaps to fill on that football field. And you can see, there's a little bit of inconsistency, but they're filling things out. Middletown making some defensive substitution line changes, going with that 4-man front now.
Handoff by Primrose. Looks like Wade, and a nice stop by Middletown, led by Joseph Mann, the captain, as well as number 2 for the Middie Bears, Chase Blackwood, in on the stop. No gain on the play.
Big third down.
And for the second time on this drive, Middletown defense, see if they're up to the challenge on a big third down stop here, which could give them an opportunity for possession to end the first half and then possession to start the second half. Primrose, back to pass. Rolling towards his left on the far side. He's got some running room and cuts it upfield, and he's got enough, just enough, for a first down across the 45 to the 46. A nice job that time by senior quarterback Luke Primrose, who's having a nice ball game from a decision-making perspective, for the Bees.
Primrose with the big play fake, and who bid on it big? It was Chase Blackwood from the right end side. He just jumped in on the play. Primrose was able to roll out around him and get that first down for Beeville.
Clock running, 3:13 left in the first half. Primrose under center. Handoff. Garcia inside Middletown territory, finally brought down at the 50-yard line. Mark him at the 49, so they'll give him a pickup of 5 yards on the play. And call it a 2nd and long 5.
Baldwinsville, 1 timeout left. They have 49 yards to go to get into the end zone. And if you're Middletown, you're down 14-7 now with 2 timeouts. They stop them here on this play. Beeville will probably work the clock down on that third down and try not to give Middletown an opportunity, if Beeville has to give the ball up, to leave Middletown any time to get anything started.
Those 2 third down conversions has made this a long drive for Baldwinsville. See if that Middletown defense is conditioned here in the opening game of the season. Garcia, once again, nice job by Graham coming up from the linebacker spot after a 1-yard gain down to the 47-yard line, make it the 48-yard line. So 3rd and 4, and for the 3rd straight time on this drive, inside of 2 minutes, Middletown defense has an opportunity to get off the field, though this might be 4-down territory for Baldwinsville.
Clock continues to tick against Middletown's wishes, but they have to hold on to those 2 timeouts. Third and 4 here for the Bees.
Primrose from the shotgun. Garcia in motion. Little problem with the exchange, and that's going to cost him a big hit that time by Jelani Graham.
What a nice play by Graham.
Joshua Simon held him up and said, come clean this up for me.
Now, here's the question. The clock continues to tick. If you're the Bees of Baldwinsville, you're going to let that tick all the way down. You might even take a penalty on this 4th down, because you don't want to give Middletown much time on the clock. Middletown holding on the 2 timeouts.
I think Coach Trenfield's going to wait, knowing that he's got the football to start the second half. He does not want to entice Baldwinsville to go for it on 4th down, and then if they get it, they have a short field.
Now, Baldwinsville does have 1 timeout left. We haven't seen them punt yet tonight, so we'll see if they're going to use their timeout. The play clock is down to 0 now, and Beeville is going to use their last timeout.
We'll keep it right here in Baldwinsville. Once again, Ed Estrada and Tom Fagione bringing you all of the action on Wall Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fair Acre Farm, Dulcintown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World. So it's going to be 4th down and about 2.5 yards for Baldwinsville. What would you do here, Mr. Fagione?
So it's AA football, which means one thing. You got enough depth on your bench that you better have a pretty good punter. If you're Baldwinsville, you want to get this ball and bury it as deep as you can inside Middletown territory. Some of the smaller teams that don't have the depth at the skills positions, you might think about going for it here on a 4th and about 3 or 4. But if you're Baldwinsville right now, I think you get your punter out there and you just have him kick that ball away. And if you're Middletown, listen, Middletown's got some stars out there. So a punt like that could be an opportunity to see something electrifying happen. And that's what Beeville's going to do. They're bringing out
send everybody?
I don't think so. I think you got to play smart, because the problem is you send everybody, you run the risk of that penalty.
I think he looks like I don't see anybody back for the punt. It looks like they're going to be punting the football.
Well, Beeville, they broke the huddle. They had 12 men out on the field. They're now down to 11. And Middletown's got 10, but I don't think they're going to put a heavy rush on.
This is Widrick. And you're right, it was a soft pressure, so the ball's going to come down and go into the end zone.
86, Widrick punts it into the end zone, so it's a touchback. I don't know about that. If I'm Baldwinsville, I think I want something high and far into the corners. That rolled right into the end zone, and barely a second or two rolled off the clock. 40 seconds left here in the first half.
So do you gamble, or do you give it to Jelani Graham and see if he can break one?
I think that's what you do. I mean, Graham...
I agree. You're going to get the football. You know you're getting the football to start the second half. So you don't want to risk an interception here deep in your own territory.
Pick six is the kiss of death. You don't want to go into that locker room.
Down by 2.
Absolutely. I think you get Graham out there. You get him in a one-on-one matchup. If you can get him out into the flats, see what he can do. And we'll see what happens here. They got Graham as the single back in the backfield.
Dual receivers on either side, and he's going to roll to the near side and throw the football downfield. He's got a receiver, that's Barbosa, across the 25, and head coach Tim Stranfield saying, I have a lot of confidence in my freshman. This is not really a freshman. This is a third-year starter. 2nd down and 4 for Middletown from their own 26. 33 seconds remaining in the first half.
Well, I'll tell you what, Barbosa has shown himself to be a skilled receiver. The junior wideout with a nice catch there, gets himself out of bounds, takes 7 seconds off the clock, 33 seconds here remaining, clock stopped on the out of bounds. I think you're going to see Middletown try that again, maybe to the far side of the field.
Trips receiver to the far side. This time he rolls that way, looking downfield. He overthrows Barbosa, stops the clock with 28 seconds remaining, and now it's 3rd down, so you might want to run the football here and get rid of the rest of the clock. You don't want to punt the football.
That's the problem with that incomplete there, because you complete that, even if it's 3rd and short, now you have options. You can try to go deep, vertical, or you get the first down. But for Middletown now, I think they're going to put the ball in Graham's hands here, hope he can get a first down and maybe more.
And if he doesn't, the clock's going to run down, because I believe Baldwinsville's used all their timeouts.
And Middletown still has 2 left. So even if Graham gets short of the first down, Middletown can call timeout, and you might see him go for it on a 4th and short.
It's got trip receivers. And they are going to throw the football downfield. He's got the first down with Barbosa on the far side, who gets out of bounds with 21 seconds, down to 20 seconds. I saw an extra tick go down after he went out of bounds, but I don't think they'll adjust it. It's going to be first down for Middletown at their own 35.
How about that? Barbosa, another smart play, catches the ball, first down, out of bounds, and ball's at the 35. You know, it's not a lot of vertical. I think if you're Middletown now, do you take the strike deep? I think you might want to try for it.
To me, you almost have to. You've worked hard to do this and get in this position.
And you know what you can do is you can throw it across the middle, because you do have 2 timeouts left. So you don't have to, you know, Baldwinsville doesn't have to protect the outside. They also got to protect the inside deep.
Maybe a safety pass to Graham, back to pass. He's looking downfield over the middle. Barbosa at the 45-yard line and brought down. That'll stop the clock, which kind of looked like it didn't start. But we'll see. There it says 11 seconds, 1st and 10 for Middletown inside the 45-yard line.
I think if you're Middletown, I think you need to use the timeout now. Even if the chains are set, the clock starts as soon as the chains are set. So Middletown's going to use their 2nd timeout. They have
keep it
one
right
left. Oh, I'm all excited now.
Yeah,
that was a great.
That's why I want to keep it here.
Absolutely. How about Barbosa, though? Knowing that, you know, the timeouts are in your back pocket. We don't have to go outside. Let's do a slant across the middle. And guess what? Baldwinsville gave them that spot.
Yeah, the secondary was in a zone because they didn't want to get beat deep.
Can't get beat deep and outside. You'll give up a little bit on the inside. But Barbosa, I like this kid at the receiver spot.
Now, David Suazo Castillo is the Middletown kicker. I do not know what his distance is from a field goal perspective. I know he's a soccer player, and he looked good on the 1 extra point that they had here. And from the look of the trees, and the flag right now is still at the right corner of the end zone. So the wind has died down, where earlier when we started, it was gusting at about 15 to 20 miles an hour.
I'll tell you what's interesting is you look at the flag in the end zone, it's still, but you look at the trees here at the 50-yard line and across, there's a little bit of a flutter in those leaves out there. So maybe a little crosswind here. I'll tell you what, doesn't really play into the situation right now.
Trips receivers on the near side. Jelani Graham, the lone back behind JoJo Royal, who'll work from the shotgun. Up the middle, Royal's going to run the football, and he's got a lot of room trying to get out of bounds. Does he? He fumbles the football. He fumbled the football, I believe, but did he get it back?
He fumbled it, and it's going to be turnover to Baldwinsville.
I saw the indication on the fumble, and it is Baldwinsville football after what had been a nice gainer for JoJo Royal. But the good thing for Middletown, there's only 3 seconds left to play. So probably no harm, no foul, but it took Middletown away from an opportunity at the end zone on the last play of the half.
I don't know. You're 14-7. You're up. You're Baldwinsville. I think you go for it here. Why don't you chuck it deep? You got some tall receivers. They're coming out. But I think they're just going to take the ball in. They're going to go into halftime up 14-7, which is probably the smart thing to do.
They're protecting themselves down there. So they're just going to fall on the football, and they'll be content going into halftime with a lead. So some nice action, some first game mistakes on both sides, but nevertheless, we go to halftime here in Baldwinsville with the Bees leading the Middletown Middie Bears 14-7. As we go to our halftime break, you're listening to Middletown Football on WAR Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop, DWI, and Traffic Safety Program.
Rockland Hardware and Paint. RHP is your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. They're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. They're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. They're your local experts, and they're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore at RHP, Rockland Hardware and Paint, 416 East Main Street, Middletown.
After the game, keep it here for the Hudson Valley's greatest hits. This is Wall Radio.
We're back.
The scent of autumn is in the...
Back here at Baldwinsville, New York. Ed Estrada along with Tom Fagione. 14-7, the Bees over the Middletown Middie Bears. Tom, it was a half where we saw some two good opening drives followed by some mistakes in regards to turnovers as well as penalties there in especially the second quarter.
Absolutely. Both, you mentioned it, Ed, so much in the end of the second quarter. Both teams, it's week 1, week 0. Week 0. What does that mean? 0, that's just silly. But both teams feeling each other out, but also feeling themselves out, trying to figure out where they are as a team, establishing their run, establishing their pass a little bit, defense, just trying to get things all settled. So 14-7.5, not surprised. Both teams now going to just kind of regroup themselves a little bit. Good thing for Middletown is they get the ball, start second half, right?
And I think one of the things you find out when you're coming into the first week of the season and you're playing these cross-sectional games, you really don't know what you got. You don't know what you got as far as the folks stepping up from other players that have already graduated. Plus, you don't know the other team that well. And then all of a sudden, as the game starts, you start to say to yourself, you know what? We match up okay against this team. So once you get past that initial feeling that do we belong on this field with this other team, then you could start playing your game, go to your game plan, go to your strengths. Now, we talked about the fact that both of these head coaches have done a great job in really adjusting there in the first half. we obviously came in thinking that Baldwinsville was just going to run the football all night long. That's turned out not to be the fact, and probably because Middletown came in defending the run. And the same thing from Middletown's side on that opening drive. They didn't run the football quite well during the first series of downs. Got some help on a 15-yard penalty from Baldwinsville that reclaimed the drive for the Middie Bears. But Coach Trenfil then adjusted from really a run-centric game to a passing game. And JoJo showed a lot of confidence. And I got to tell you, what really showed was that last series, even though Middletown did not score on that last series before the half, Coach Trenfil putting the ball in the hands of his freshman, right, instead of running down the football as the deep in his own territory, showed JoJo Royal that head coach Trenfil has a lot of confidence in him.
Well, you mentioned he's a freshman. I come from the Port Jervis side of things. He's a known commodity in Port Jervis for 3 years now?
Yep.
And what poise, this kid is a talented player. And 4 more years? Is there any kind of eligibility issues we have to talk about here? Is he going to graduate Middletown with a doctorate degree? Because this guy is something special.
That happens when you start in 7th grade, folks. And
love it. Absolutely love it.
He looks really good. He got a lot of help from Mr. Barbosa. In the meantime, as we try to tally up our stats, we'll have them for you shortly. In the meantime, we're going to take another quick break here. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The way we see it, if you're going to have a store with the word farm in its name, you better carry the freshest products available. And that's why we'd like to thank all the local farmers who provide the fresh dairy that keeps us true to our name, Adams Fairacre Farms.
Ready to buy your Hudson Valley dream home? Now you can achieve your dream and enjoy a great rate from Rhinebeck Bank. Get moving with a great Rhinebeck Bank mortgage and then get moving into your perfect place. No hoops to jump through, no kidding. Apply today and start your house hunting. Just go to rhinebeckbank.com/mortgage and get started. It's that easy. Rhinebeck Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS number 477976. Your home, your dream, your bank. Rhinebeck Bank.
The top priority of Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program.
Just 15 more minutes.
Tired of waiting for your much-needed prescriptions? Town Pharmacy in Middletown is here to help. Open early, open late, and open on Sundays. This independent pharmacy won't keep you waiting. They're well-staffed to never leave you without your prescription. And if you can't make it in, they offer free local delivery. Transfer your refills today with Town Pharmacy, just before the traffic circle on Town Road, Middletown.
Next. That was quick.
Listen anywhere on your smartphone or tablet. Download the Wall Radio app for free. The world-famous Wall Radio.
Back here at Baldwinsville, New York, at Estrada and Tom Vagione, 2024 Middletown football for Middie Nation back home in the Hudson Valley. The trip up to Central New York so far not going the Middie's way here in the first half, but they're in the ball game. They're down 14-7. We have about 14 minutes left here in the first half. The unofficial stats so far here in Baldwinsville for the Middie Bears: number 15, Jelani Graham with 7 carries and 23 yards. JoJo Royal, 3 carries, 7 yards. Number 8 for the Middie Bears, Jaden Faison, with a carry and 6 yards, and also Rudy Cherry had 1 carry that did not yield any yards. So really, we talked about the rushing game for Middletown, but only 36 yards rushing in the first half, primarily because of a lot of penalties that were called on some of those running plays, holding calls against Middletown. So taking a look at the Middie Bear football schedule, moving on after this week at Baldwinsville, we hope Middie Nation heads over to Warwick. They have another road game next Saturday, September 13th, 7 o'clock start. Make that on Friday, September 13th, the 7 o'clock start. Before the first home game of the season, folks, we want to see Fowler Field filled to the brim as we take on Port Jervis in the Erie Bell game.
The Erie Bell game, a historic game for both teams. You know, in the last couple of years, prior to the last 2 years, the game kind of lost, I hate to say this, and I'm a big history fan of high school football, kind of lost its luster a little bit. Port Jervis was so focused on being in Section 9 Class B football that game's prominence to some of the kids, you know, seniors aside, but for some of the kids from Port Jervis, their focus was on, we want to get in that Section 9 Class B finals. We want to get into the intersectional games. The Middletown game was a tough game and kind of ups and downs a little bit in terms of the focus. But Middletown's resurgence last year and the way Middletown beat Port Jervis last year, Port Jervis is game for this game, and they are hungry to get the bell back. And, you know, Ed, I always joke with you, and we have a great love affair about Port Jervis and Middletown. And we always say when Port Jervis loses the game, we're loaning you the bell.
And I got to, you know, you cannot discuss Middletown football without talking about one of our finest. And I have to mention Middie Bear Nation lost probably it's one of its biggest football legends and head coach Dick Wilslayer. It was a personal loss for me as well as for many in Middletown after a really 60-year career at Middletown, from teaching to coaching, and a fine overall human being. I was honored enough to have the family ask me to do the eulogy for Coach Wilslayer, and it was a very emotional time for Middletown football, and it's going to be emotional at the Erie Bell game, the first one that we will see since the 1960s that does not include Dick Wilslayer. And I do want to mention that the Middletown Board of Education recently approved renaming the entrance to the stadium as Wilslayer Gate. So we'll have a ceremony. We also do want to remind Middie Nation that on the 21st will be our second annual Wall of Fame induction ceremony in Middletown. That'll be a 10 o'clock ceremony at the high school, and we'll honor those at the football game, which will be at 1 o'clock at Fowler Field. It'll be a Saturday afternoon Erie Bell game, and it's going to be a barn burner. Port Jervis is going to come in, as Tom just mentioned, guns a-blaring. They want to win this game, and they have the dogs to do it this year, as I fully expect the Red Raiders to really own that Section 9 Class B championship once again and head to the state playoffs for how many years in a row? Third year in a row?
Port Jervis right now is the 5-time defending Section 9 Class B champs. So they're looking to make it 6 in a row. Coach Damian Straharski has built himself quite a little empire in Port Jervis. Great deal of buy-in. It's back to the old days in Port Jervis where high school football is king and the stands are filled. Other big news, you know, Middletown does a lot of great things, and one of the best things that Middletown has, and all the fans in Walton Radio know, Fowler Field is probably the premier facility to come and watch sports entertainment throughout Orange County. So much so that state tournaments are held there, from soccer, lacrosse, track and field, you name it. High school football is back in a big way in Middletown, and you can tell by the way people come out and watch games at Middletown, not just the Middletown game, but all the big games. Port Jervis, I think, has leaned on that. We saw what happened over in Goshen as well. They built a new arena.
Beautiful, the Coliseum in Goshen.
The Coliseum. So Port Jervis's Gwinnett Field, historic Gwinnett Field, has been under renovations. The middle school in which the Gwinnett Field is at has now been transformed into a brand new elementary school. They refurbished the old part of the building. They made a new part of the building with a cafeteria and an auditorium or a gymnasium. Really, really nice. Just kicked that open just last week when school opened. And Gwinnett Field is under renovations. And guys, there's going to be turf at Gwinnett Field. I was going to
say, that must have been a very hard decision for the folks out in Port Jervis to go from grass to turf.
Superintendent John Bell '84 grad from Port Jervis High School. Yeah, he got a lot of ribbing. So did I. I mean, any place you go to, barbershop, restaurant, any place you want to have a beverage, you eat, anywhere in town, everyone's talking Port Jervis football. Gwinnett Field's getting turf. What are you guys, crazy? I'm like, guys, trust me. When it's done, it's going to look beautiful. We love coming over to Fowler Field in Middletown. I remember Fowler Field, that old turf field. I remember
with the big crown.
The crown on that field was so pronounced that when you rolled out of bounds, you just kept going.
It really was a U. It was a upside down U from a field perspective. Taking a look at the Middletown schedule, in addition to Port Jervis, they then head on the road at Kingston and a very tough Cornwall team that we saw put a shellacking on Burnt Hills up in Section 2. I thought that game would be a lot closer, but the Green Dragons always do fantastic stuff out in Cornwall. And then you've got a couple of home games for Middletown. They finished 3 of the last 4 at Fowler, including 2 big ones, Newburgh on October 10th. Then they have Valley Central at home, followed by a road game in Pine Bush, and they finish up the season, what could be a start to a playoff season, against Monroe Woodbury and the Crusaders, who are coming off a win against North Rockland.
Let me tell you something. Last year, Middletown went to Monroe. I was at that game. Middletown should have won that game. We
lost 24-20. I was on the sideline of that ball game, and that's when the Middie Bears unfortunately got beat deep a couple of times by the Crusaders, which is unusual.
What a blemish on a great season and a great record, because Middletown had no reason to lose that game. They were really doing great in that game, and Monroe just Monroe did everything in their power not to win the game until they decided at the end, let's see if we can win this game. And unfortunately, Middletown came up short. So I hope all the Middie Bears know that game obviously is going to have playoff implications, but to avenge that loss in your season from last year is something that the Bears, listen, this Port Jervis guy will be rooting big time for Middletown that day.
So some big, like we talked about earlier, intersectional games. And so far, Section 9 has held its own in these cross-section games. I don't think, you tell me, Tom, that they've lost one yet. Marlboro, which was not an out-of-section game, defeated Spackenkill 39-3. Newburgh went and beat up on an Arlington team that lost a lot of talent from last year, an Arlington team that really had state championship aspirations before they were knocked off by Carmel, who ended up going to the state championship game. So they lost to Newburgh 35-0. Then Liberty took on Fallsburg. It was 49-26 for Liberty. Wallkill went out of section, defeated Poughkeepsie, who's been on rough times the last couple of years. Some games from today, Middletown Valley goes out of section. At Suffern, defeats Suffern 36-27. You talked about Warwick earlier, heading down to Staten Island. They win down there 27-9. An earlier final in section, New Paltz beating Rondout Valley 10-7. We mentioned the Port Jervis win over Goshen, as well as Delaware Valley's loss to Central York. Haldane, the only one, I think, out of section that beat a Section 9 team in Dover 26-6. And we talked about Cornwall defeating Burnt Hills out of Section 2, 33-14. Ketchum out of Section 1. There's another Section 1 win over Section 9, 34-13. And we talked about Monroe Woodbury defeating North Rockland. But Section 9's got to be happy with the start.
The one great thing about high school football is that Section 9, forget saying Section 9's back. Section 9 is making a name for itself. Section 1 always used to think, when we play Section 9 in the intersectional tournament, the playoff game, it's going to be a lot of wins for Section 1. That tide is turning in a big way. And I want to tell you, Middletown's success last year is a catalyst in all of that. And what did they do today? They decided, let's take the big road trip. Let's go out of section. Let's go all the way up where they know that Section 3 holds the key to the state title. And, good programs learn very quickly. The only way you get better is by playing better opponents. Now, Middletown has a tough season, no doubt about it. Anytime you got to play Monroe, anytime you got to play Newburgh, you got two blue chip games you got to play in. But when you have a chance to go out, and listen, Port Jervis guy talking here, that Port Jervis game, that's no slouch either for Middletown. You play.
Oh, no. I fully, Middie Nation's not going to like this, but I think that game is tipping towards Port Jervis a little bit just because of the experience that the Red Raiders bring back this year off of last year's section winner and a nice performance in the state tournament. So, I mean, I think, and we talked about this before, that the Red Raiders probably have aspirations of not only a Section 9 championship, but making some noise in the actual state tournament this year.
Here's the thing, as a Port Jervis guy, that I worry the most about. It's 6 foot, 220, junior, number 15. Mr. Graham.
Yeah.
That guy right there, if he comes to that game against Port Jervis and he puts on the display that we know he can put on, it's going to be a tough game for Port Jervis.
And let's talk about this game now with Jelani Graham. So in my conversations with Coach Strenfeld, he thought this would be a second half game for Middletown. And the reason why he thought that was because even though they have a very big offensive line, he really felt that they can wear them down little by little. Now, they didn't run the football as much in the first half, but he wanted to go sideline to sideline and try to stretch them out and make them run a little bit, so that way in the second half, those legs get a little bit tired more and more. So we're going to see if that strategy works in the second half. You might see more of Jelani Graham pounding the football than we did, because it's only 14-7 right now, the deficit.
First half, Middletown had 36 yards on the ground. But the one thing that Middletown did well in their passing game, they had over 100 yards passing. They kept the passes short, into the flats, across the middle a little bit. And those pass plays, obviously they look like a pass play on the field, but sometimes for the defense, it feels like a run play. It feels like a sweep or a pitch. You have to defend it the same way. And for Middletown, they can continue to go to that. But I think, as you mentioned, in the second half, they really have to amp it up with Graham. He is so strong inside the tackle box. If they can get him tackle to tackle and then bouncing outside, tell you what, the Bees of Baldwinsville, they're going to have a lot of work to do in the second half. I'll give Strenfeld a lot of credit. First half, first play they did right was they said, we'll defer to the second half.
And that's what's going to happen here in about 2 minutes. We'll take one final break before we bring you the second half action. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program. Great service, great staff, great reputation. That's Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, working hard to maintain that reputation they've built over the years. The Steve Dodd team is your go-to for exceptional service, maintenance, and new installations of heating systems, water heaters, and water pumps. Their experienced, licensed, and insured professionals are here for you for simple repairs to full renovations. Call 845-386-2217 and have your heating system checked for the season. Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating. Call today. When your car needs some TLC, do you know a reliable quality repair shop? Drive over to 86 Auto World at 86 East Main Street, Middletown, where quality meets reliability. Their certified mechanics handle everything from oil changes to engine overhauls, from check engine lights to New York State inspections with precision and care. At 86 Auto World, your vehicle is in good hands. 86 Auto World, your go-to for everything automotive. Trust 86 Auto World, where your car gets the care it deserves.
Mid-City Transit is a proud supporter of the Middletown High School football team, and right now they're looking for drivers to join their team. To apply today, visit midcitytransit.com. Since 1935, Mid-City Transit has been transporting the children of the Middletown School District, always committed to providing those children with a safe, reliable bus service. Mid-City Transit is also available for charters, wedding shuttles, family reunions, and trips. Everyone at Mid-City Transit wishes the Middletown High School football team good luck this season. Go Middies!
Fall is in the air, and there is no better time to give your home a fresh new look with Benjamin Moore Premium Paint and Stains. Rockland Hardware and Paint, known as RHP, is here to help you with all your paint and decorating needs. They got you covered. RHP, Rockland Hardware and Paint, at 416 East Main Street, Middletown. Don't wait.
You're listening to Middletown High School football on the Hudson Valley's Wall Radio.
Welcome back to Baldwinsville, New York. Ed Estrada and Tom Fagione, the start of Middie Nation's football season 2024. Middletown trailing Baldwinsville 14-7. The Middie Bears and Baldwinsville each scoring a touchdown on their opening drives of the first quarter. And then Baldwinsville following that up with a touchdown later in the game. Middletown had some opportunities, but unfortunately due to some penalties, they couldn't quite get it back into the end zone, but they do have the football to start the second half.
Middletown never went into the locker room at halftime either. They stood in the end zone as they got instructions from head coach Strenfeld and the Middletown coaching staff. Baldwinsville, they went in the locker room. They probably had hot cocoa, maybe some warm blankets. So they might come out, and they're getting set to kick off. Let's see if see the contrast between being in the locker room where you're a little bit warm. You know, the scout staff for Middletown mentioned that up on top of the press box, there is a swirling wind up there.
Which we didn't see because of the flag. I mean, it is moving now, but that's good to know.
Well, you know, two things are true, and they'll always be true. Number one, it never rains in the press box. And unless the window's open, you don't feel the wind.
So we're getting ready back out to kick now for Baldwinsville is number 86, Jonathan Widrick. The Middie Bears have yet to take the field.
And as we get set for third quarter action, we want to thank our title sponsor, the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. Thank you for your support as we bring you Middie action live here on the Wall Radio Network.
So back to receive the kick for Middletown is JVN Roldan, along with number 23, Kayvon Harrison. And the upbacks, Joshua Simon, number 4, and Joseph Mann, the team captain. So 14-7, Baldwinsville leads it, and we'll see what adjustments both teams made at halftime to try to come away with a victory here in Central New York.
Well, we've seen Baldwinsville not try to kick the ball deep. Middletown has not adapted. Their deep backs are only at the 20-yard line. They haven't cheated up too much. So let's see if Beeville wants to continue that little, I don't want to call it a squib. I guess you call it a worm burner or whatever, but there's no worms on AstroTurf Field. See what happens here to start off the second half.
And we're off and running. Widrick's kick, another squibbler coming down the near sideline. Picked up at about the 25-yard line, still on his feet, across the 30, and just short of the 35-yard line is number 7, Javion Roldan, with the return.
I tell you what, that kick is great. And for Middletown, you have to decide, do you think it's going to roll out of bounds? Boy, that one was not going to roll out of bounds.
My guess is he's on his home field. He knows where the bounces are going to come. And, you know, on these turfs, you don't get bad bounces.
No, you don't.
They're straight and narrow.
And that ball was not going to roll out of bounds. So it's 1st and 10, Middletown at their own 33-yard line.
So do we have a quarterback change for Middletown? That might be Anthony Russo under center. We'll see. And it is. And he's got a pitch back. And it's read that time by their big end, who also is the tight end, number 85.
And that's Burlingame. Burlingame. Boy, he read that play well. For Middletown, though, as you mentioned, Ed, positional changes at quarterback.
I'm trying to see if I can see JoJo Royal on the sideline at all for Middletown, as we do have that quarterback change.
A loss of 5 on the play.
Anthony Russo, 2nd and 15 for Middletown from their own 28-yard line. Give up the middle. This time it's Graham. He does a couple of spin moves and gets across the 30-yard line. And it's going to come back to about the 32-yard line and going to bring up a long 3rd and 11. A little precarious position here now for Middletown with their backup quarterback starting the second half.
And the real question is, where's Royal?
I see Royal on the sideline to the extreme left.
And he has his helmet on. So
3rd and 11. Russo back to pass. Over the middle on the near sideline into traffic. Rudy Cherry was the intended receiver. It falls incomplete. And Middletown's going to get forced to punt. I don't think this was one of the adjustments head coach Strenfeld was looking for.
Not at all. So for Middletown, you have to wonder if Royal is injured. He doesn't appear to be, as he's standing on the sidelines. There's no tape, no ice packs on him. But for Middletown, Royal not in the lineup at quarterback, and you could see it was a 3-and-out for Middletown.
Wade and Garcia back to receive the punt from Middletown. It's kicked from about the 20-yard line. It's a low liner across midfield. Did that touch one of the Baldwinsville Bees? I think it did, but the Bees ended up falling on the football, and they'll have favorable field position. 1st and 10 from their own 47-yard line. Actually, they'll mark it at the 46 for Baldwinsville. There is a player down for the Bees as the trainers come out. So we're going to take a quick break here. You're listening to War Radio Football on Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. So it looks like we'll keep it here. As we do have an injury, we'll try to get a number on the injured player for Baldwinsville, who's down at about his 43-yard line.
For Baldwinsville, looks like it's a leg cramp, and that's Cameron Young's number 44, stretching out his left calf. So apparently, you know what? You go in that locker room at halftime, and it's nice and warm in there, and you come out, and Young's there with the left leg cramp. Nice to see that he's making his way to the sidelines. He's a junior, 6'1", 195-pound, number 44 for Baldwinsville. Baldwinsville get the ball 1st and 10. Will give him at their own 48-yard line. And for Middletown, with JoJo Royal not at quarterback, huge loss to start things here in the third quarter.
He's playing now. He's in defense as the safety. It's a handoff into Middletown territory. A good gainer on 1st down for the Bees, number 7, Tayshawn Wade.
Wade in that second quarter got more and more opportunities with the ball on offense for the Bees.
He picked up 7.
Into Middletown territory, just at the 45.
So precarious situation here for Middletown. They trail in the ball game by 7. It's still well within reach, but they're on their heels here in their own territory. The handoff, it's going to be blown dead.
Looks like there
might have been motion.
Yeah. Baldwinsville, their linemen like to go from a 2-point stance down to a 3-point stance. And when they did that, receiver was in motion. So can't have 2 men in motion at the same time. 5-yard penalty.
And so a mistake here by the Bees. We'll see if Middletown can make them pay or if Baldwinsville converts. It's going to be 2nd down and 8 from midfield for the Bees. 9:39 remaining here in the third quarter. And Baldwinsville holding the 7-point advantage.
But for Middletown, offense, that first, we talked about in the halftime, getting the ball back, excitement about getting the ball in the third quarter. And boy, they laid an egg to start things off.
Handoff on the near side across the 50 to the 45. Picked up about 5 yards on the play.
Nice hit by Simon for Middletown.
3rd down and about 3 yards for Baldwinsville, likely to be 4-down territory.
Wow, they're going to give him 5 on that carry. They'll set it up at the Middletown 45. So Wade really showing himself in the backfield for the Bees. Big play for the Middletown defense right now. 8:50 remaining here in the third quarter. Middletown's down 14-7. A stop here will force Baldwinsville to think about a punt.
Primrose, who's done a nice job leading them. A little rollout, and that's an incomplete pass. Dangerous. It was just on the forward side, almost a lateral.
That is close to a lateral. And in a situation,
they're going to punt the football, it looks like, Tom.
Yeah, I tell you what, it was 3rd and short. 3rd and about, maybe 4? We'll give them 4. And to throw that swing pass results in Baldwinsville having the punt now.
Middletown better be careful. It's only 3 yards that they don't fake the punt.
I tell you what, they're punting this ball deep. Remember the last punt, they put it into the end zone.
That might be JoJo Royal back there to receive the punt. The kick is up. Royal calls for a fair catch. He bobbles the football. It's picked up by Middletown, and it's down at about the 12. Royal did put up his fair catch sign, but I guess once he fumbled the football
that's an
on
anomaly.
the fair catch.
That's an anomaly that we'll have to check the rule book on.
Whether you can run it back after you've recovered.
Royal calls for the fair catch. He slides under the ball. It rolls underneath him after he touches it. And was it Simon who picked it up after?
Yep,
I believe it was. But no gain on the return. Interesting. Royal to the sidelines. Now, he came off the sidelines, and it looked like, I'm telling you, I think he's got something sore in the back, maybe a hammy.
I would be stunned, though. Why would you, with a sore hammy, put your quarterback out on defense?
Maybe he's just upset at the return opportunity there. Nonetheless, it's first down Middletown. We'll give him, what, the 13?
Yeah, Anthony Russo. 1st and 10 for Middletown from their own 13, trailing in the ball game by 7. That's Cherry in motion. Scrambling to his right is Russo. Oh, just got it all across the outstretched arm of number 26 for Baldwinsville, who almost came down with the interception, Jordan White, as he tried to get the football to Jelani Graham near the 20, but it falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 for Middletown.
This is going to be Russo's offense now. He's to the sidelines to get the offensive play. And it's going to be Russo at quarterback, where Royal is nowhere near returning at quarterback. So interesting. We'll have to dig deep and find out the situation there.
Anthony Russo, a 5'10", 155-pound junior.
2nd and 10 now for Middletown at their own 13.
He's got the helm for the Bears. Back to pass, Russo looking over the middle downfield. Overthrows the intended receiver, Rudy Cherry. Unfortunately for Middletown, number 16, Brady Garcia was closer to the football than Cherry was on the pass. 3rd down and 10 for Middletown, and unless they get a strong play here and move the chains, they're going to be forced to punt from deep in their own territory. With 8:17 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Big 3rd down now for Middletown.
Back to passes, Russo. Big rush. He fumbles the football. It's loose. I think Middletown might have fallen on it. But regardless, it's going to bring up a 4th down, and Middletown's going to have to punt the football as the ball's marked at the 9-yard line. And the punter will have the goalpost at his back.
Boy, and you talk about an offense just falling apart. Royal not at quarterback, and this is no slight on Russo at quarterback, but Middletown's offensive line seems to fall apart. And that situation, Middletown was lucky not to have that ball taken away from them. So it's 4th down. The ball's at the 9.
A high, short punt, fair caught by Baldwinsville at the Middletown 33-yard line, 32-yard line, where they're going to take over on downs or after the punt. So we're going to take a quick break here. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop TWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The sentiment. The way we see it, if you're going to have a store with the word farm in its name, you better carry the freshest products available. And that's why we'd like to thank all the local farmers who provide the fresh dairy that keeps us true to our name, Adams Fairacre Farms.
The Hudson Valley's greatest hits, and your home for Middie's football. The world-famous Wall Radio.
Back here in Baldwinsville, Estrada and Tom Fagione. A 5-yard carry by Brady Garcia has the Bees with 2nd and 5 from the Middletown 27-yard line. And the give up front this time, I believe that's Wade on the carry for minimal gain for Baldwinsville.
Great
and
defense.
It was Wade.
Great defense for the Middies there. Defense really has to step up big now. Offense sputtering a little bit. Wade only able to get back to the line of scrimmage. So it'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 for the Baldwinsville Bees at the Middletown 27. Middletown's defense has to come up big on this play. Try to get that ball back and get the offense back on track.
3rd and 5. Primrose under center.
New quarterback
is Morial. He rolls towards his right, getting a big rush by Cherry, and he forces Morial to get rid of the football before he wanted to, and it falls incomplete, bringing up 4th down for Baldwinsville. That time coming in from the sideline, Cameron Morial, and just a lot of surprises all of a sudden here in the 3rd quarter.
Halftime was not kind to quarterbacks for both teams. Both teams opting with some different quarterbacks for their offensive sets.
Now, to be honest, we did expect dual quarterbacks from Baldwinsville tonight, but Primrose had done such a nice job as a field general, you were a little surprised.
Their offense was, not electrifying, but it was solid in the first half.
4th down, Morial this time from the shotgun. From the Middletown 27-yard line, they need 5 yards for a 1st down. Back to pass. He's going to run the football, and he's going to maybe get it. No, he stopped at the 25-yard by that brick wall coming up from the secondary, led by number 1 for the Middie Bears, James Mays, with a big stop.
Huge play by the Middies defense. Morial thought he might get the chain. Mays said, sorry, not this time. Big stop for the Middies defense. And if you're the offense, you got to get in that huddle and say, guys, let's settle this ship. Let's get things moving in a positive way.
We have not heard the name Jelani Graham in the second half yet, and it's time to open up some holes there if you're that Middletown offensive line to take up some of this clock and put a score up on the board. You're only down 14-7 with 6 minutes remaining in the 3rd. And as we said, Jelani Graham up the middle across the 30 with a big gainer till about the 33-yard line.
And that's exactly what, Ed, you said it best. That's exactly what Middletown needs. A little north to south with Jelani Graham. And not only does he give you north to south, he has that spin move and abilities to get not 4, not 5, he gets 6 and 7 yards on that carry.
2nd and 3 from the Middletown 33-yard line for the Middie Bears. Graham ran angry on that last play, and we'll see what happens here with Russo under center. Graham again. This time they're going to get a lot of Jelani Graham across the 35 to the 37 and a Middletown 1st down.
Absolutely. Graham with the carry. 2nd carry of the drive results in the first down of the drive. Clock says 5:20 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Ed, you mentioned it, 14-7, Baldwinsville up. But Middletown, if they can establish themselves here and get on the Graham bus, the Bears will be putting it to the Bees.
And then on top of it, that'll open up some passing game, maybe for Russo down the road if you need it. Graham the lone back, Russo under center, 1st and 10 Middletown from their own 37. Once again, up the middle, Graham finding room at the 40, across to the 45-yard line, and another 8-yard pickup for Jelani Graham, 2nd and 2 Middletown.
What vision by Graham. He's going to the tackle side right. He sees the hole just swallow him up. What's he do? Bounces left, and then he's tripping and falling. And you know what? Superstar players know you only fall one way, and you always fall forward.
And Jelani Graham loves to touch the football. He'll take it every single play of this second half if you let him.
9 on that. Man, nice run.
2nd and 1 from the Middletown 46-yard line. Russo under center. And they're going to whistle this one dead, and it's going to be offsides. And it's going to be a 1st down for Middletown.
Baldwinsville was showing blitz. They had their linebackers in the neutral zone. And I'll tell you what, Russo, smart quarterback. Good count there. Got the defense to go offsides. A free 5. And guess what? It's a 1st down for Middletown.
And they're inside. They'll mark it right at midfield for Middletown, 1st and 10. 4:19 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Middletown football sponsored by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program. 1st down, Middie Bears at midfield. Russo under center once again. The give to Graham. This time a nice job with that front line. But look at Graham still eking out a yard when he had a 3-yard loss. Number 8, Ayumide Al-Asadi for Beeville got across that line.
Boy, that was a tough one.
It looked like a 3-yard loss, didn't it?
And Graham finds a way to get a positive yard on the carry into Baldwinsville territory. They'll mark it at the 49. Ed, you win the prize. I was not going to attempt that name.
Well, you saw my eyes light up when I looked down on the roster sheet, and I'm like, what?
We do our best.
2nd and 9 for the Middie Bears from the Beeville 49-yard line.
How about that offensive line really coming to Russo's aid at quarterback?
Cherry in motion, a little fumble on the snap. He finds a way to get it back to Cherry, and he gets it back to the line of scrimmage. The original line of scrimmage at the 50-yard line, but that was almost disastrous. Almost looked like Russo might have had his foot stepped on by the center.
You know, there was that, but Cherry went in motion, and I think Russo has to do the reverse pivot from that position. And when he stepped, I think it was the right guard, stomped on his foot. So 3rd down now for Middletown. What looked like the start of a good drive. A little stymied here at the 50-yard line. Officially, they'll put it at the Middletown 49, so they'll have to mark it as a -2 on the play.
Do you throw the football with your backup quarterback, or you ride the horse called Graham? We'll find out here. 3rd and 10 from the shotgun is Russo. Back to pass. Looking downfield, way downfield, overthrows all of the intended receivers, and it's going to bring up 4th down. But you would think that Middletown might play the field position game from midfield.
I think you punt the ball here if you're Middletown. Again, game reset. 2:24 here left in this 3rd quarter. Middletown's trailing Baldwinsville 14-7. Both teams in the 3rd quarter seem to be a little out of sync. Seemed like Middletown was going to get things started on this drive with Graham, and then it just sputtered out at the 50-yard line. So Middletown forced a punt right now. Coming out to punt, I think this is his 3rd or 4th punt of the night. This will be Jaden Faison for Middletown.
Wade and Garcia back to receive the punt. Faison, a low liner near the 20-yard line, going to take a favorable Middletown foul. Wade picks it up at the 5-yard line. Big pursuit by Middletown, but he gets away down the near sideline. And a flag on the play, a block in the back. A second flag comes down the sideline before they finally bring Wade down at the 35-yard line. A gallant effort by Tayshawn Wade for Baldwinsville, but likely to come back some yardage on a block in the back.
Yeah. Cherry got hit from behind as he was making the play, and Wade was able to spring loose on the outside. But it was the Middletown defender, Cherry, who got hit from behind at about the 20, maybe 21-yard line. So they're going to mark this back from where Wade was going to bring it all the way back.
I would say inside the 10-yard line.
No doubt about it.
The flags are down at the 20, so if you mark 10 yards back there, you're looking at about the 10-yard line to start the series, but we'll see with 2:04.
We saw Baldwinsville in the first half have the problems with the little yellow hankies, and that's a bad penalty there as Middletown sputtering a little bit. Beeville giving them a chance now by setting themselves up with a 1st and 10 way deep in their own territory.
Take this opportunity to remind you that you're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio's broadcast presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fair Acre Farm, Dulcintown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World.
Quick out-of-town scoreboard. Ed, you're going to like this. The Mets 4-0 over the Reds today. The streak continues.
9 in a row for New York. 1st and 10. Baldwinsville inside the 10-yard line at the 9, and there's going to be a whistle. Might have been offsides on Middletown. Let's see, because the flag's thrown on the Middletown side of the field.
Yeah, Middletown was in the neutral zone.
It's 5 yards that the Middie Bears just gave right back. A free 5 yards, so that's going to bring the ball to the 14-yard line. 1st and 5.
Defense was hungry to make something happen.
Too hungry.
Yeah. Speaking of hungry, great concession stand here today. Got us some snacks. Oh, how about this hit?
Big hit
hungry.
In the backfield by Jelani Graham. He does it on offense, and he does it on defense. From the linebacker spot, a loss of about 3 yards on the play back to the 11, and it's going to bring up a long 2nd down and 8
Boy, Graham read that play so well. We saw Garcia in the first half get some good touches for Baldwinsville, and Graham was keying on that. Man, he shot that gap, and he picked the right time to come up big on the defense.
With the Middletown offense not really having a passing option now here in the second half, they want the smaller field, so stopping Baldwinsville on these next two down, on this next down is very big. Handoff, Primrose, and it's going to be a first down for Wade and more. He's off to the races at the 40, the 50-yard line and the 40. He's in Middletown territory inside the 30, and really a touchdown-saving tackle that time by James Mays, who didn't give up on the play. Wade might be down a little bit with an injury, but all the way down to the Middletown 22-yard line. A huge pickup from the 12-yard line of Baldwinsville down to the 22. It'll bring up 1st and 10 for Baldwinsville in Middie Bear territory with 1:09 remaining, and Baldwinsville leading 14-7. We do have an injured player on the play, so we'll take a break here as you're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program.
This is Middletown High School football on Wall Radio.
In Baldwinsville. Back in Baldwinsville, New York, at Estrada Tom Fagione. 1st and 10 for Baldwinsville at the Middletown 23-yard line after the 67-yard run by Tayshawn Wade for Baldwinsville. Handoff on the inside at the 20, the 15, and another close to first down is going to be about an 8-yard pickup for number 22 for Baldwinsville. His first carry of the day by Maxi Capers.
Boy, and you talk about some speed right now. Wade with the big 60
fresh legs. Yeah.
Capers, nice jets from the backfield. Picks up, what, give him 9 on that? To the 14? Oh,
yep,
wow.
2nd and 1. For the Bees from the Middletown 14.
Middletown's got to stop the run here and maybe hope for a turnover. Time is waning here in the 3rd quarter.
Primrose back into the game as the quarterback. Handoff once again to Capers, but a nice job on the tackle. The spin move, the tackle by Joshua Simon. A little bit of a spin move was enough to get him a first down in the 2-yard pickup with the last... They'll start the clock up, but that's the last play of the 3rd quarter, with Baldwinsville leading 14-7 as both teams head to the sideline, and with the Bees leading the Middie Bears 14-7 after 3 quarters. We'll take our break. Middletown Football's on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
The top priority of DWI and their traffic safety program is keeping our roadways safe. Local law enforcement is increasing efforts to keep impaired drivers off the road. You can help make a difference by having a safe plan to get home. You could walk, ride, carpool, or call a cab. Download their Have a Plan mobile app by visiting stopdwi.org/mobile app. Impaired driving is completely preventable. All it takes is a little planning. A message from Orange County Stop DWI and their traffic safety program.
Back to the action of Middie's football on the world-famous Wall Radio.
Welcome back to Central New York on a brisk September fall evening. Things not going the Middie Bears' way so far through 3 quarters. They're down in the ball game 14-7, but more importantly, the Baldwinsville Bees are driving deep into Middletown territory.
Boy, the big 60-yard play by Wade was the heartbreaker for Middletown. But Ed, get this, man, 12 minutes left in the game. Yeah, Middletown's down 14-7. They are not out of this game. They need to just buckle up the chin straps, tighten up the defense here. They can get a good hold right here, and I don't mean the penalty. They can hold the Bees from getting in the end zone. You get that offense back out there, back in this game.
Baldwinsville has had some mistakes in this ball game, and the Middie Bears are hoping there's at least one more to start the fourth quarter here with the Bees at the Middletown 12-yard line and a first down. Give to Capers up the middle. Fumble on the play. Can the Middie Bears grab it? They do. It's at the 20-yard line down the far sideline, and that's the mistake we just talked about a couple of seconds ago. It's going to be Middletown football at their own 30-yard line, or the 28-yard line, with 11:50 left.
And that's exactly, you talk about an opportunity. Capers with the fumble, and there was no reason for him to fumble. He has some green grass in front of him. Ball pops out of his hands. Middletown's defense, Johnny on the spot. Nice return. Gives them good field position in their own territory. First down, Middletown at their own 28-yard line. And if you're Middletown's offense right now, you got to be stoked.
And what's interesting is one of the linemen was injured on the play. Looked like a cramp. We've now seen two players with cramps today, and we talked about what Coach Strenfeld said, that he thinks that in this game towards the second half that people are going to start getting tired on the other side of the field.
Absolutely. And you know what? Remember, those guys went in the locker room at halftime. Middletown, however, stayed outside in the cool temperatures. Wonder if that has anything to do with it. Go inside where it's nice and toasty, you know, you're hanging out in the locker room. Middletown breaks the huddle now. And I got to tell you one thing. Russo at quarterback, he's got to become the field general here and take over this offense.
Got receivers to either side to give this time on the near side. A good run play on first down before he's finally brought down. That's number 7 for the Middie Bears with the carry. Javion Roldan picks up about 3 on the play, I believe. They'll mark him at about the 29-yard line. Actually, they're only going to give him a yard on the play.
1 yard gain on the play.
Got to fix these binoculars.
It's not the eyes, it's the binoculars always, right?
2nd and 9 for Middletown from their own 29-yard line, 11:20 with the clock running left in the game.
Graham back in the backfield now. That's the guy. You got to get the ball in his hands. This Middletown offense is dependent upon him.
Hand off to Graham right up the middle. A big gainer for Graham across the 35-yard line near first down territory, and he's got enough. And a 10-yard gain for Jelani Graham, and a Middletown first down keeps the drive going at the 39.
And I tell you what, Graham ran that ball north to south, and he was standing tall. And when you see a running back standing tall, you know one thing, he's feeling confident. Because sometimes those running backs inside want to get low. They want to try to just bulldoze their way. He can bulldoze his way standing tall. That's the sign of a real stud running back.
You kind of feel the confidence building on this Middletown offensive line, too. Graham, once again, up the middle, breaks through the 45-yard line, still on his feet near midfield. We do have one player down. And that's a big one for...
He's going to be at the 50-yard line.
Yeah. After the play, one of the players got hurt, and it's a big player for Baldwinsville, number 85. Mitch Burlingame is down near the 40-yard line. Middletown with Jelani Graham, an 11-yard pickup to midfield, is going to have a first down. We'll keep it here at Baldwinsville. 10:42 remaining. We'll set the scene for you here on this crisp autumn night. In early September, Middletown trails Baldwinsville 14-7, but the Middie Bears have the football at midfield with a first down. Some surprises here in the second half. Middletown quarterback JoJo Royal did not start the second half, and he's now on the sideline with no helmet on. So my guess is this is, as you mentioned, Tom, earlier, Anthony Russo's game to lead.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if I'm Russo, I'm looking in that huddle, and I see 15, and I'm like, listen here, mister, I'm giving you the football as many times as I can. Good news on the field for the Bees. Burlingham to the sidelines on his own power. Looks like he took a shot to the ribs. It's a big kid out there. They have him in the program book, Burlingame, 6'3", 225.
But this Middletown offensive line now starting to open up holes for Jelani Graham, exactly as head coach. And that looked like there was an infraction on the defense coming across that line. That's going to cost Beeville another 5 yards and bring up 1st and 5 for Middletown from the Beeville 45-yard line, trailing by 7, 10.5 left in regulation.
Those free 5 are great yards for the Middletown offense right now.
Cherry moves from left to right on the line. Jelani Graham up the middle. Still on his feet, still dragging Baldwinsville Bees across the 40. He was stopped at the line of scrimmage and then carried about 3 Bees on his back across the 40 and gives Middletown another first down.
Graham takes what was a 1 or 2 yard loss, makes it a 6-yard gain. And Ed, how about this now? Conditions changing on the field.
It's raining, folks. We talked about those possible showers, and they have arrived here. And this is real football now.
Now, this also changes the dynamic of the game, because you know who excels in a situation where turf like this is going to get a little bit wet? It's that big, strong running back.
Yep, uniform. You're grasping at a wet uniform.
Graham's excited now. He wants to get the ball more and more.
Graham's got it again. Graham across the 40, does a spin move, and still on his feet, gets about 2 yards on the play after it looked like he was going to have another 2-yard loss. Ball's now at the 37-yard line, 2nd and 8 Middletown.
4th carry in a row for Graham, 4th positive yards. And the fans are taking cover here as it's a light misty rain. I mean, I say that from the press box. I'm sure some of the fans wouldn't agree, but it's chilly out here right now. It's upper 50s, so it's a cool rain out there. Playing on the field, though, if you're inside the tackle box, this rain doesn't bother you at all.
Don't be surprised with a little pass to Barbosa or something here on 2nd and 8. To give a spell to Graham, but no, he's got the football across the 35 and down to the 32-yard line, and it's going to bring up a manageable 3rd down and about 3 yards for Middletown from their 30. They'll mark him at the 33, so it'll be 3rd and 4 on what's 2-down territory for Middletown inside 9 minutes.
And the umbrellas came out just in time for the rain to stop. So a little shower in the air just went away quickly. I tell you what, though, if you're Middletown, you're looking at Jelani Graham right now. He is in prime
And right now he's got 2 carries to pick up 4 yards. And that's the way you got to look at it if you're Middletown.
And he's hungry for the ball. He's feeling it. He's running with confidence. And that offensive line saying the same thing. You give it to 15, we're going to get him first downs.
Russo under center gives it to Graham. It's a fumble on the exchange. It looked like somebody from Baldwinsville, number 14, got in the backfield. That was Aaron Holcomb and kind of disrupted the exchange between Russo and Graham, and that's going to bring the ball back all the way down to the 39-yard line where it'll be 4th and 9 for Middletown.
Here's the thing. That time Graham was lined up tight at the line of scrimmage. Graham excels when he's that tailback spot. When you get him behind the line, because he has that vision to see where he'll still run through the hole, but he sees that second edge, and he has great football sense as to make decisions, whether the spin or the juke. And when you line him up that close to the line of scrimmage, if I'm a defensive lineman, all I got to do is get my paw on him a little bit, slow him down.
So a tough decision by Coach Strenfeld. Do you kick and really pin? And he's going to call timeout to think about it right now, because I was a little surprised that they can go for it. There's still 7.5 minutes left in this ball game. You have an opportunity with a short punt to maybe keep Baldwinsville inside the 10-yard line and then take your chances on defense.
Well, you can't take the timeouts home with you. So for Strenfeld to use the timeout now, I think it's smart. You know, sometimes you say, well, I got to hold on to the timeout as long as I can to the end of the game. Hey, it's 14-7 right now. 7 minutes and 32 seconds left in the 4th quarter. This could be the end of the game. You don't convert here, don't get a chance to score. Baldwinsville gets the ball back. I tell you one thing, Baldwinsville, they got that Capers guy. Last couple carries he had with the ball, he looked strong. And, of course, Wade with a big 60-plus yard run up the sidelines. So Middletown has to convert this play. They need to keep ball possession. More importantly, that ball possession will give them the opportunity to get that score and to tie things up here. So for Middletown, you got to go for it here on the 4th and 9. It's a big play. I think got to go with Graham, right?
Yeah, you got to find a way, you know.
Or, Barbosa was so strong. I tell you, in halftime, got an update on Barbosa, and you'll love this one. We got spies everywhere. Us Port Jervis guys, we got spies everywhere. Christian Farrell sends me a text. He goes, Aiden Barbosa was the MVP of the 8-1 Middletown JV squad last year. And this kid is a great talent. So let's see if they opt for that. Official timeout on the field right now. Guess they want to make sure everything's set.
So 2 receivers on the near side for Middletown, 1 on the far side. Russo rolling to the near side in big pursuit and a big sack. And it'll be a turnover on downs, number 34. Dylan Garcia with the sack. And that's going to change the dynamic here with 7:25. Now, the Middletown defense has got to say to itself, one, it's only a one-touchdown game, plenty of time on the clock. And as we mentioned last time, Baldwinsville still has been making mistakes in this ball game, including turnovers. So there's still an opportunity. It'll be interesting to see if head coach Carl Sanfilippo, in his 40th year, if he decides to play it a little conservative and just hand the ball off here, trying to run some of this clock down.
I'm giving the ball to 22 or 7. As many times as I can, as long as I can. But, of course, now they go with 32 in the backfield.
Yeah, but that's Wade, though, in the deep back slot. So chances are Wade. No, on the inside, and a problem. There's going to be a whistle on the play. It looks like Middletown might have been offsides. Or no?
I think it's procedure against Baldwinsville. Yeah, they were not set. They were not set at the line of scrimmage.
And they were going to hand the ball off to Garcia, Brady Garcia, but there was a problem with the exchange as well. So that's going to cost. We talked about the mistakes. Baldwinsville just made one on the first play.
Middletown has to play smart defense right now. You don't have to blitz 11. You don't have to do anything crazy. Play smart football. Your defense has been decent. Baldwinsville has not been able to establish any kind of tempo here, both first half and here in the second half as well. And even breaking this huddle, Baldwinsville seems to be a bit confused.
10 seconds on the play clock. 1st and 15 from their own 38-yard line. Oh, a big hit by Middletown. Brady Garcia off the handoff, but Jelani Graham came up with the big stick, and that's another. They're going to give them back the line of scrimmage. So no gain on it. 2nd and 15 for Baldwinsville from their own 38-yard line inside 7 minutes.
And we talked about Monroe-Middletown game last year. Monroe did not want to win that game until at the end where they won the game. It seems as if Baldwinsville, they can't get out of their own way here. You know, they're up 14-7. You would think that they're going to go I formation, smash the football. But they tried that inside handoff there. Middletown's defense was sharp, right on top of things. Baldwinsville, 2nd and long now. They seem to be confused.
Primrose under center. Back to pass this time. A big rush by Middletown. And he throws the football, almost intercepted by Jelani Graham at the 40. It falls incomplete, but some good pressure by that Middletown front line. And Primrose, for the first time tonight, panicked and just threw the football up, and Graham almost came down with it.
Well, credit goes to Chase Blackwood for Middletown. He's playing on the right outside, or left outside. He comes in, but he stays contained, which forces the quarterback to step inside. What happens? Quarterbacks know one thing. If they can get out of the pocket, they can see downfield. If they have to step inside, what do they see? They see a mountain of defensive linemen coming at them, and that's what happened. Middletown, great job on the defense there. Now, how about this? 3rd and long now for Beeville.
3rd and 15 from their own 38. Back to passes Primrose, rolling to the left. There is a penalty on the play, and that's going to fall short. The play's going to finish at about the 41-yard line. So the Middie Bears, unless the penalty's on Middletown, they're going to get the football back on a punt.
I don't think this play should have started. I think there was a procedure penalty. They were not set again.
We'll see what the call is. Yeah, they're declining it, so it is against Baldwinsville. The Middie Bears are going to get this football. More importantly, like nothing came off the clock. It's 6:15 still left here in the 4th quarter.
Well, there was an illegal shift. That play should have not happened. They should have blown the whistle dead there. And I think, well, they're going to give them a yard.
So 4th down for Baldwinsville. The ball has been placed on their own 40-yard line. Back to receive the punt for Middletown is number 11, Julian Garcia, along with number 23, Hector LeBron. They're going to station themselves near the Middletown 30-yard line as Widrick is back to punt the football for Baldwinsville.
And Widrick, he can kick this. Oh, boy.
A bad snap. Middletown getting on Woodrick, and the Middie Bears are going to have the football deep inside Baldwinsville territory at the 34.
How about that? You talk about chance after chance. Baldwinsville is giving Middletown this game, and Middletown is primed to take it now.
Somebody should have given me that crystal ball when I kept saying they got mistakes. They do mistakes, because that's exactly what's been happening.
I'll tell you one thing about Middletown. They have stayed composed in this game. When they felt as if, listen, that big 60-yard run by Wade, Middletown old-time Middletown, you know, a couple years ago, maybe the bumps would have gone their way. Oh, man, it's a tough one to come against. Middletown said, all right, we're going to shake it off. Shook it off. Look where they are now, 1st and 10 in the Beeville zone, and they are looking to get this thing tied up.
And with 6:08 left, this has got to be the drive for the Middie Bears. At the 34, Graham, off the handoff, gets tripped up for a short gain by number 34, Dylan Garcia. Garcia, the last 2 plays, the sack on the last possession, and now this trip up.
Well, here's what happened, too. Graham tried to cut out and then in, and, you know, that turf's a little slippery out there now.
I'm a little surprised the inside game was working with the running game, but they're not doing that.
He's got to remember to stick to that north and south. He is so strong a runner, just straight up the gut. You don't have to cut outside and make the moves. And let's see what they do here.
There's no urgency here. There's 10 seconds, and Russo hasn't gone back to the huddle yet. They're not going to get this play off. Coach Strenfield's going to have to call a second timeout here.
Oh, that's terrible, because that'll leave him only with 1. Oh, he's got to be mad.
He is. But, you know, there's got to be better communication knowing the ball has been marked on the far side hash. We're going to take a quick break here for the last 5.5 left. You're listening to Middletown Football on War Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI Traffic Safety Program.
The Hudson Valley's greatest hits. The 70s.
The 80s.
The 90s.
The Hudson Valley's hometown station, Wall Radio. Listen anywhere on your smartphone or tablet. Download the Wall Radio app for free. The world-famous Wall Radio.
Back here in Baldwinsville, New York at Estrada Tom Fagione on Wall Radio, the greatest hits for Orange County and the Hudson Valley. But tonight it's Middletown football. They trail in the ball game 14-7, 5:23 remaining in regulation.
Big shout out to all our fans listening all across Middie Nation. What a game we have here today, and it's our pleasure to bring it to you here on the Wall Radio Network.
That's Rudy Cherry in motion. A bad snap, but Jelani Graham does what he usually does, grabs it from Anthony Russo and picks up about 7 yards on the play. So 3rd and a long 3 for Middletown as they rush to the line. And it looks like there's a play. We don't know what's going on. There's a flag. Middletown had the football, but their offensive line was just standing there. And it is a false start, so they're not even going to... That's going to cost 5 yards and going to bring up a long 3rd down now for Middletown. We know that this is going to be 4-down territory. So it's going to be 3rd down and 33 from the 33. And 8 yards to get to the first. They need to get inside the 24.
Garcia, for Middletown, check that. Russo, I think he wanted to spike the ball, but the
I thought that too.
The defensive line pushed the offensive line back, and Russo had no place to throw it. He couldn't throw it at his feet, so he kind of got stuck back there, but they called the procedure. Oh, bad play for Middletown.
Russo from the shotgun. Graham with the ball. Graham still on his feet, close to the 1st down, and he might have gotten it. We'll see where they mark the football.
Oh, yeah, give it to him. Come on now.
I see the far official saying now they give it to him. The 1st down, big play. Picked up 9 yards when he had to Jelani Graham to the 23-yard line. 1st and 10, Middie Bears, clock running, 4:17 left.
Oh, boy, what a huge 1st down for Middletown. Russo takes the play call from the sidelines, runs to the huddle. Play clock says just about 10 now.
Plenty of time. They have 2 receivers on the near side, 1 on the far side, but this is going to be Jelani Graham's show. Handoff to Graham, trying to get to the outside on the far side of the field before he's enveloped by about 5 or 6 Baldwinsville Bees. The clock continues to run, could not get out of bounds, picked up a yard on the play, 2nd and 9.
The ball's going to be marked where, about the 22? Maybe, yeah, we'll give him the 22. You're right, pick up a 1. Problem is, he didn't run out of bounds. That clock continues to tick. We're now 3:30 left in this game. Middletown trails Beeville 14-7. Remember, Middletown has only 1 timeout left. Tell you what, man, a 40-year coach in San Filippo here at Baldwinsville. He knows the game. He's still holding pocket full of timeouts. He has 3 remaining.
So the Middie Bears wouldn't get hurt here by running this clock down and scoring at the last minute. Jelani Graham, the lone man in the backfield, gets the pitch and is coming down the near side. Turns it upfield, but fumbles the football. It's taken by Baldwinsville. Running down the sideline is that guy we've mentioned the last 2 possessions. Dylan Garcia comes up with the loose ball. An unfortunate fumble for Jelani Graham, and Baldwinsville has the football 1st and 10 on their own 44.
Boy, and Graham did all he could to get out to the left side. Listen, we talked about it all in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Graham excels north to south inside the tackle box. That time he takes it outside. But not only, Ed, does he take it outside, takes it outside to the left side. So what's he do? Ball's in his left hand. Boom, pops out of his hands, and it falls right into the Beeville defender's hands. Big return. It'll be 1st and 10, the Bees.
2:59 remaining in this ball game. We'll keep it right here in Baldwinsville as there is a cramp on one of the players.
They haven't moved the chains yet, which is interesting. But I think they're going to wait until this young man is taken off the field, thankfully on his own power. And for Baldwinsville, that's Kalen Kennedy, 6'3", 315 junior. He's got a lower right leg cramp, but they are moving the chains the Bees' way. It's going to be 1st and 10 Baldwinsville at their own 44-yard line.
Kennedy's one of their offensive linemen as well, so he won't be in on this first play. But now what comes back to haunt you here is the timeout you needed to use because of the play clock situation. So Middletown only has 1 timeout left.
Well, the bounces were going Middletown's way until they stopped.
Yep, you can't, they've been given several opportunities by Baldwinsville mistakes, and they're really going to need a doozy of a mistake by the Bees here to turn this one around with 2:59 remaining, trailing by 7.
Well, we know what's happening here. Baldwinsville, 3 men in the backfield. They're going to keep this on the ground.
Primrose under center. Handoff. Garcia at the 45-yard line picks up about 4 yards, still on his feet. Brought down finally at about the 49-yard line. So a pickup of 5 on first down as the clock runs with 2:44.
Yeah, this is about 1 more first down for Baldwinsville.
Correct.
And that'll be it for listen, the game is not over yet. Middletown can be shaking their heads a little bit. 14-7. Big road trip up here to Baldwinsville. Middletown has nothing to be shy about tonight.
And they knew they could win this ball game because it was just mistakes on both sides. Whoever made the least amount of mistakes here in the second half. There's been no scoring in the second half.
Yeah, compliments to the team. Both teams, the only way you get better is to play games like this against good opponents.
2nd and 5. Handoff. Middletown has nothing doing, no gain on the play. It stays at the 49. We'll see if Coach Strenfo uses that last time out yet.
You might have to.
Clock's still running.
Now we're under 2 minutes. It's a 3rd down now. Ball is at the Baldwinsville 49. So they need 5 more yards to get a first down and end this game. But Middletown's going to hold on to that timeout to use it on perhaps a 4th down. But Beeville will be primed to let this roll all the way down. Heck, they can burn one of their timeouts. And I think they're gonna let the play clock run down. There's like 10 seconds left on the play clock. Game clock will be about $1:20 left when Beeville calls this timeout. And for Middletown, they can just kind of shake their heads a little bit left and right, but have to huddle up, regroup, figure out, maybe make a big play here. They need a huge turnover on this play.
So we'll take one final break for the last minute of play. You're listening to Middletown Football on Wall Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI Traffic Safety Program.
Oftentimes, the wheelchairs our veterans and first responders receive from their healthcare providers are subpar at best. Some are falling apart, with a years-long waiting list for a new one. This lag causes a tremendous amount of stress for our heroes and creates a burden for their caregivers. Isolation leads to depression. We build what they need to get outdoors, hunting, fishing, or playing sports. Join the mission at wheelchairsforwarriors.org.
The Hudson Valley's greatest hits. Your home for Middie's football. The world famous Wall Radio.
Back here in Baldwinsville as we wrap up our last minute 21 with Middletown trailing by 7. One final thanks to all of our sponsors, Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fairacre Farms, Dolsontown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World. 3rd and 5 for Baldwinsville. They hand the ball off. No, Primrose going to keep it. Primrose, actually Garcia's got the football, and more importantly for the Bees, he's got a first down that will put the icing on the top if you're a Baldwinsville Bee fan, and put the frown on the face if you're Middie Nation.
Both teams have a lot to be proud about. Baldwinsville very excited right now as they know this is their game to win. Middletown, sure, you're going to be upset right now, but you came all the way up here to Section 3. You laced up your boots, you put on your helmets, you went out there and you played a good, solid football game. Sure, things you're going to work on, things you're going to fix, but you can hold your heads high and know that you came up here to Section 3 and you showcased that Section 9 football is definitely the real deal.
As they take one knee here with the last 40 seconds running down. For sure, Coach Strenfeld knows that had they not made the mistakes, they would have came away with a win here tonight. But unfortunately, there were just too many penalties, a couple of mistakes, and a JoJo Royal-less second half. We do not know the reason why, but Anthony Russo did his best effort along with Jelani Graham in the second half as we count down the last 15 seconds here of this ball game between Baldwinsville and Middletown. The Middie Bears will head on back to the Hudson Valley with a loss on their sleeve, but a chip on their shoulder as they take on Warwick next week on the road in week 2 of the season. That'll do it. As the teams shake hands at midfield, we'll take a break here and come back for our post game for Middletown football on Wall Radio, presented by the Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety Program.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager, learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
After the game, keep it here for the Hudson Valley's greatest hits. This is Wall Radio.
Back here at Baldwinsville, New York, at Estrada, along with Tom Fagione. I had the pleasure here on Wall Radio to bring you some of this action. I want to thank Kevin Halpenny and my sidekick, Tom Fagione, for letting me kind of help out a little bit this weekend. And we also can't do it without Jack George back in the Wall Radio studios. Not what we wanted to see up here. A loss for Middletown at 14-7. However, Middletown knows that they can compete at this level in Section 3. Just a bunch of mistakes. JoJo Royal sitting down in the second half. So a lot of things to work on before they face Warwick next week. But I think the Middie Bears know that they can play, and they know that they'll be part of the noise when it comes to Section 9 Class AA football.
Middletown football is one thing, and it is now a Section 9 AA football team that you have to notice. You can't look at that schedule and say, oh, it's Middletown. If you do that, you will go away with a loss. So coming up here to Section 3, we talked about it in the pregame, we talked about it during the game. The road to Syracuse, the road to the state championship for the last billion years has gone through Section 3. Middletown says if we want to get to the Dome, if we want to be a perennial powerhouse in AA football, we're going to come up here. We're going to play the Section 3 teams. They came up here today. They put out a good game. Yeah, mistakes. Week 1, week 0, whatever you want to call it. Sure, mistakes were on both sides of the field. Unfortunately, at the end, it was Baldwinsville who was able to capitalize on a couple of miscues for Middletown late in the game. But I'll tell you what, that second half, you mentioned it. Can't believe until you mention it. Not a single point in the second half.
No, it was scoreless in the second half. Though both teams had opportunities, when you're Coach Strenfeld, you come out of this game one, you didn't know what you were going to get out of your offensive line. I think they played well. Jelani Graham, especially in the second half, really started. They opened up some holes for him. They didn't use him as much in the first half, but I think you're happy coming out of this game. They have a game under their belt, letting it going back to the Hudson Valley for their Section 9 play. But I think you're happy with that. You're happy with the defense. The defense stepped up to the plate every time Middletown made a mistake, sometimes deep in their own zone. The Middie Bear defense stood their ground, so that was good. Jelani Graham. He's going to have an outstanding year. I still think he's going to be make some noise for Player of the Year in Section 9. We'll see how it plays out. But a lot of good things happened that were offset by mistakes that you typically see in the first game of the season.
And here's the other thing. The road to Syracuse continues for Middletown. This game does not hamper their chances. You take away from this, if you can, and the kids right now are sure they're upset, they're hurt, take away from this. This loss is only going to make us better if we identify the problems, we fix them, and we work hard. Tell you what, we were talking during the commercial break. You know what? Middletown came up a little bit short tonight, but we have to throw some love out there. We like to pick maybe a guy who really showed himself to be the guy, the player of the game. Ed, who's you got?
Got to be Jelani Graham, man, the big guy. It was rough. I'm sure he's going to wear that fumble on that bus, but come Monday, he's going to shake that off, go right back to practice, work just as hard, figure out what he did wrong on the fumble, and get that much better for next week's game at Warwick.
Here's the problem with high school football. Yeah, Graham's going to focus on that fumble. Middletown's not in the game without Graham.
Correct.
So that fumble, yeah, of course you're gonna take it internal. But Middletown is not in this game without Jelani Graham. Yeah, he's our player of the game. He did a great job tonight. Middletown's offense looked good. Defense in the second half looked super strong. Lots of positives to take away. Listen, Middletown's got a good football team, a good football program. They got a good season ahead, and it's going to be a great ride from here until November.
And we want one final thank you to all of our sponsors, Orange County Stop DWI and Traffic Safety, along with Mid-City Transit, Rockland Paint and Hardware, Steve Dodd Plumbing and Heating, Adams Fair Acre Farms, Dolsontown Pharmacy, Rhinebeck Bank, and 86 Auto World. Your final score from Baldwinsville, the Bees beat Middletown 14-7. We'll see you next week, Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th, when the Middie Bears take on the Warwick Wildcats. Game time 7. Join us on the pregame at 6:30 for Tom Fagione. And back at the studio, Jack George, Ahmed Estrada. Thank you for joining us here on Wall Radio.